Last night in Tokyo, it was over before it started. Samurai Japan took the lead on the second pitch of the game and never looked back. Japan heads to San Francisco, and tonight, two teams will fight to join them in the World Baseball Classic's final round. The Kingdom of the Netherlands, Japan's victim last night, gets some good news and some bad. The good news? They beat the Cubans 3 days ago. The bad news? Cuba has regained its power stroke. They manhandled Chinese Taipei on Saturday. Just one ticket remains from Tokyo to San Francisco. Cuba will try to impose its will and conquer the kingdom. Cuba, Netherlands, down to 1 game. It's quite simple tonight here in Tokyo. Winner goes to San Francisco, loser goes home. For the second time here in Tokyo, Cuba and the Netherlands. Hi everyone, Rich Waltz along with Buck Martinez. A lot has happened since these two teams met in the opener of the second round. The Netherlands handled Cuba, but since then, the Netherlands was hammered by Japan and Cuba muscle up against Chinese Taipei. Where are these teams psychologically right now?
Well, psychologically, you should be worried about the Netherlands, but in talking to them, they're not worried one bit. They have the confidence to play well against Cuba. They have beaten the Cubans the last 4 times they have met. So they're going to forget about that thrashing at the hands of Japan and focus on this game tonight.
You get to the back of the round, and all of a sudden, starting pitching is a factor, and that's where our focus is tonight. For Cuba, a surprise starter, Vladimir Garcia.
Yeah, Vladimir Garcia has pitched as a reliever in this tournament, but he's a starter back in Cuba. Last year, he's 14-5 with a very good ERA, and his team won the championship in Cuba. But in this World Baseball Classic, just 2 games, and in fact, the last time he pitched against Japan, he gave up 2 RBI singles and a sac fly, but it didn't go on his line. His line looks a lot better than he actually has pitched in this tournament.
Because of the way the ball game unfolded last night with the big lead by Japan, the Netherlands burned 2 starting pitchers that are not available tonight. So in 2 games, they've used 3 starters. Who do they have left? Well, they have arms, and they may have to use them all.
Yeah, they sure do. And I talked to Bert Blyleven, the pitching coach. He's not that concerned. They're going to start Orlando Intema. He's a strong arm right-hander that throws fastball, slider, and a good changeup. Then they can go with Chiron Martis. He will be the second guy out. They have Dave Bergman, plus they have Leon Boyd and Luke Van Mill. They've got enough arms tonight. They have to pitch aggressively, keep the ball down, and diffuse this potent Cuban lineup.
So there you have it. The Netherlands, of course, they were the storybook team in 2009. If they get to San Francisco, they may be back to Cinderella. The Cubans, powerful. If they get to San Francisco, they certainly could win it all. It's 1 game, a ticket to San Francisco, or a ride back home. Andrew Jones and the Netherlands take on Cuba next. In the Tokyo Dome, in Tokyo. Obviously a sparse crowd compared to what we've seen when Japan plays, but the stakes just as high as last night with Cuba and the Netherlands. Here's Cuba's lineup. Guillermo Heredia in center. Yulieski Gurriel's at third base. Jose Fernandez had a great tournament at second. Freddy Cepeda is the designated hitter. Jose Abreu, plenty of power. Alfredo de Spain homered against the Netherlands in Game 1. Yasmani Tomas has earned himself a starting spot now in right field. Frank Morajon, the best defensive catcher Cuba has. Barbaro Arrua Barruena is at short and hits 9th for Cuba. And there's a look at Orlando Intema, the 27-year-old, born in the Dominican, his father of Dutch descent. As Buck pointed out, he was very good in the big win over Korea.
Boy, it sure was. They shut out Korea 5-0. Entema came into the ball game after Markwell went 4 innings. Entema pitched 3 shutout innings, allowed just 2 hits, struck out a batter, and they're confident he will have enough zip on his fastball to neutralize this Cuban lineup. The Cubans really went off against the Netherlands in that they had a lot of pitches up in the zone. And you've got to pitch them down. You have to pitch aggressively with your fastball inside. And Entema has that kind of stuff. He can do that. So it's going to be interesting to see how aggressive he is early in this ball game to set up his fastball.
Breaking news out of the clubhouse for the Netherlands. Roger Bernardina is out with a wrist contusion, and Buck, that affects the defensive alignment for the Netherlands.
But it sure does. Randolph Odebert takes over in left field. Khalil Sams moves into center. And Coco Valentin is in right field. Up the middle, it's Simmons and Scope. DeCaster gets to start at third base. Kurt Smith is at first, and Deshenko Ricardo is the catcher. And we're going to focus on Ricardo tonight and his awareness of just exactly what the Cuban hitters are trying to do against Entema.
And both managers will be focusing on their starting pitching. If anybody wavers or hits a bump in the road, they'll be out of there in a hurry. This is a Game 7 situation. Winner goes to San Francisco. Loser heads back home. Guillermo Heredia, 3 for 16 in this series. You've got Gurriel and Fernandez to follow as Entema misses outside. Entema has professional experience, signed with the Giants, spent 5 years in San Francisco's minor league system. It is 1-1 pitch. A fastball shot down the right field line, fouling out of play.
Already we've seen a fastball 89-91, and that's good news for Hensley Mullins, the manager. Rob Quarterman's last night against Japan just didn't have that kind of velocity and really paid the price.
You never would have guessed, standing around the batting cage, that the Netherlands was rocked by Japan last night 16-4 and gave up 6 home runs in the process. They were confident, they were loose, they have turned the page. Let's see if it works tonight against Cuba. Another 1-2 pitch, and the breaking ball misses away to Heredia. It's a Cuban lineup that doesn't steal a lot of bases. You see Andrelton Simmons of the Braves. He was one of the loosest. And there's an issue out in the outfield. Jonathan Scope calling timeout. And out in right field, Vladimir Valentin is having a wardrobe malfunction. It's a family show. Let's get that fixed.
Yeah, it looks like he just having trouble with his belt. So Jonathan Scope, the second baseman, asks the second base umpire for time, and appears as though everything is good with Valentin in right.
So Entema goes back after Heredia. The 2-2 pitch on the ground. It's a very good defensive infield. Scope fires it over to first. Remember, they rolled 4 double plays against Cuba, and Victor Mesa's team also popped into a double play as well. And he's still got the batting gloves on. We envisioned him last night in his bathrobe, pacing around the room with the batting gloves on, watching Japan take down the Netherlands.
Yeah, these two teams met in the opener, and Netherlands beat them 6-2. Cuba had 12 hits in that ballgame. They hit 2 home runs, and the difference in the game, obviously, the 4 ground ball double plays and the extra pop-up double play, 5 double plays in that game, really neutralized those 14 hits.
Yulieski Gurriel, third baseman for Cuba. Then you've got Jose Fernandez. That's a pitch that was up, and that was the problem against Japan last night.
Yeah, it sure was, and the Netherlands very aware of it. They can't leave any balls up in the zone, and they're lucky they got this one back. Gurriel had a home run swing, and Deshenko Ricardo is really locked in on these hitters.
Got that one up, and he got away with another. DeCaster comes in, and Yorendel DeCaster makes the catch. Entema has a couple of outs. Chris Guccione's behind home plate. Alfonso Marquez is at first. Carlos Rey out of Puerto Rico is at second base. And the Canadian, Trevor Grieve, is at third for this very important ball game. It is A ticket to San Francisco or a bitter defeat and disappointment. Here is Fernandez. He has lit it up in this tournament, first in Fukuoka and here in Tokyo. Fastball, that's popped up. Simmons is over, DeCaster is under, and he makes the catch, and Intima goes 1-2-3 through Cuba in the top of the first. Tokyo Dome scoreless. Cuba and the Netherlands. That is Vladimir Garcia.
Garcia's 30 years old, and he's got a good fastball. The key to his success tonight is to get ahead with his fastball. If he does that, then he's going to gain more confidence, use the fastball more aggressively, and the velocity should climb. If he misses, then he becomes tentative.
And his first pitch, a fastball for a strike to Andrelton Simmons with Jonathan Schoop and Vladimir Ballantyne to follow. As we told you when we introduced the Netherlands defense, Roger Bernardina is out, hit by a pitch in the game last night. He has a wrist contusion, possible as a pinch hitter later in the ball game. Here's the 0-1, and that's a live fastball. Garcia has done some closing, and when he closes, he can get it up in the upper 90s. As a starter, he lives in the lower 90s.
The last time we saw him, it was in the first round final against Japan. He pitched in the 9th inning and was hit around a bit. He gave up 2 RBI singles and a sac fly, but it didn't go on his line score. Officially, he was 2/3 of an inning with just 2 hits.
Simmons behind in the count, takes a fastball that's out. Not sure what he's got in his back pocket, but whatever it is, it's pretty substantial. Certainly not wallet and keys. He's on the road. Maybe a spare rosin bag. Here's the 1-2. Simmons goes after a breaking ball at his shoe tops, and he pops it up to the pitcher, Vladimir Garcia. The rest of the Netherlands. Schoop had the big game against Cuba. Ballantyne moves up into Bernardina's spot, and that moves everybody up. Jones into the cleanup spot. Smith hits 5th. Yorendel DeCaster, the veteran, is a surprise starter at 3rd. Kalian Sams is in center field. He shifts over. Dashenko Ricardo behind the plate, and Randolph Odeberg is in left field, and he hits 9th. And with Bernardina, you lose a left-handed bat and a guy that's been hitting 3rd for the entire tournament for the Netherlands. And here is Schoop, 3 for 6, a double, a homer, a single, and 4 runs driven in the 6-2 win over Cuba. And Garcia with a strike.
Early on, Garcia is showing that he's going to throw strikes, and the lineup for the Netherlands was anxious to be patient just to see if he struggled with his command, but so far in this first inning, he's thrown some quality pitches.
Schoop swings and misses. Now Schoop homered as well in Taichung in the first round. And here's a slider, maybe some flashbacks to last night when Kenta Maeda was striking out 9 in his 5 innings of work for Japan.
Maeda has been the best starting pitcher in this pool.
Without a doubt. Here's the 1-2. In on the hands. And Garcia is throwing hard right now. That one at 94. Different atmosphere in here tonight. With Japan playing, crowds have been at capacity. Last night was close to 40,000. But here tonight, it's Cuba and Netherlands under the Teflon skies of the Tokyo Dome. 1-2. Breaking ball, foul tip. Morejon holds it, and Garcia's off to a quick start.
Well, his put-away pitch is that slider. He got Simmons to pop up on the slider, and this is a big, hard-breaking slider. But it's not in a great spot. You can see it's upstairs, and Scope is out in front of it a bit. It's going to be interesting, and as good as Maeda was against the Netherlands last night, that might work in their favor because Maeda made no mistakes whatsoever. Garcia already has left a couple of pitches up in the zone.
Here is Ballantine, and Vladimir takes a fastball that misses down low. Vladimir Ballantine, the 28-year-old out of Curacao, and comfortable over here. He is the two-time home run champ here in Japan, former big leaguer with Seattle and the Reds. And the 1-0 pitch. Fastball, ground ball into center field, a base hit. So Ballantine has a hit. Here comes Andrew Jones, and here comes Cuba's defense.
Behind Garcia in the outfield, it's Alfredo de Spain, Guillermo Heredia, and Yasmani Tomas starting for a second consecutive game. Left side of the infield, Yulieski Guriel, Erisbel Arua Buaruena is the shortstop. Jose Fernandez, Jose Abreu on the right side, and Frank Morejon starts for the second consecutive game for Cuba. Good defensive catcher with a strong arm.
Andrew Jones. Jones stands in. He was 2 for 4 against Cuba. And a big breaking ball from Garcia. Curveball for a strike.
Yeah, and Andrew Jones is the one that had high praise for Kenta Maeda. He said, we knew we were going to get a lot of sliders, but he never made a mistake. And that's why I say those at-bats against Maeda might serve the Netherlands well tonight, because Garcia has left some balls up in the zone very hittable.
And Jones way out in front. Now, a lot of teams have not pitched to Jones. They've pitched around him in this tournament. Jones has walked 5 times. But last night, Maeda struck him out twice.
All right there, Andrew was looking fastball. Started his swing before he ever picked up the ball out of the pitcher's hand.
Hensley Meulens, skipper of the Netherlands, hitting coach for the world champion San Francisco Giants, has done such a nice job here, and a terrific job for Bruce Bochy. Ballantine from first. 0-2 coming. Ballantine is running. Fastball ripped to third. A big hop for Guriel, who throws across the diamond. And Garcia gets through the first, on to the second. Cuba and the Netherlands are scoreless. Scoreless ball game. Vladimir Ballantine was running on that ground ball, and this is not good news for the Netherlands. Watch this.
Ballantine got a great jump, but just before he hits the dirt in that sliding pit at second, he reaches inside of his left leg. Trainer came out to attend to him, and we're going to have to keep an eye on that. They've already lost one regular. Roger Bernardino was scratched from the starting lineup.
Frederick Cepeda, Jose Abreu, Alfredo de Spain. And this is where the power starts in the Cuba lineup. Cepeda, a terrific hitter. Veteran hitter, 32-year-old switch hitter. And Ballantine tested already. You can see he's not moving well at all in right field. Cepeda's hit. Sams picks it up. And that's an issue right now for the Netherlands.
Well, it sure is. Vladimir Ballantine just jogged over after that ball, and before he took his position, Hensley Meulens told him to just take it easy out there. And Cepeda with a little looping liner into right center. Ballantine just jogging over. Killian Sams is the center fielder, and I'm sure he's been told, hey, you got to get to all those balls in the gap because Ballantine is not running well. And you can see he's feeling that high groin area. I think suggests that he might have strained it, possibly pulled it in that break towards second.
Fastball is high to Jose Abreu. Abreu has shown big power. He's hit a couple of home runs. Cuba has hit 10 home runs in this tournament. And Abreu, we've noted before, has that nickname, the Cuban Barry Bonds, just because his numbers are so ridiculous. It's a 90-game schedule in Cuba. It runs from November to April, and last year he hit 35 home runs and hit 392, which was off of his 2011 year where he hit 453. Intima got in on him, jammed him.
Cuba has really started to flex their muscle. 10 home runs in Pool 1. Japan, 6 home runs, all coming last night. They had just 2 extra base hits going into that game last night against the Netherlands, and they broke out in a big way.
That was an extraordinary night last night, with Japan having not hit a home run the entire tournament and then opened the game with a homer. 5 more would follow, including a grand slam. I'll tell you one big difference from last night to tonight. Last night, Victor Mesa and Cuba were back in their hotel. There were 40,000 people in here, and it was hot and warm. Tonight, it's very cold outside, and there's not a lot of folks inside, so it's chilly in the dome. A swing and a miss at a breaking ball, and Intima strikes out Abreu. So the ball might not fly as well tonight as it did last night.
Well, it certainly won't fly as well if you get this slider on the outside part of the plate, and Abreu swings and misses. Intima has still been a little more up in the zone than they would like, and that was the reason Cuba was so good in their last game, because they got a lot of balls up in the zone and they knocked them all out of the ballpark. Hit 4 home runs in a 14-0 whitewashing of Chinese Taipei.
Here is Despain. His homer was a line drive to right against the Netherlands, and he's hit a couple in the tournament. If Abreu is the Cuban Barry Bonds, then Despain has got to be the Cuban Kirby Puckett, because he's built just like him and has the same type power, though not as accomplished an outfielder as Puckett was.
Yeah, he's a fire plug, certainly, with a big home run swing. And Dechenko Ricardo, the catcher, out to encourage Intima to get that ball down. He has been up with his fastball, up with his slider, and you're flirting with danger to pitch this Cuban team upstairs. Plus, you eliminate and negate the double play possibility. You want the ball down, put it on the ground, and give your infielders a chance to get you out of this inning.
They turned 4 of them against Cuba, and Despain with a mean rip at a 2-0 pitch. And the count is 2-1. And of course, that play by Simmons on a pop-up was the 5th double play in that ball game. Despain is all muscle. Bert Blyleven, the pitching coach for the Netherlands, knows it. 5'9", 215, rock solid, and he was the MVP in the opening round in Fukuoka. Cepeda's at first, and a slider from Intima's outside. The count runs 3-1.
Intima is a little too deliberate with that breaking ball. He's almost telegraphing it as he's trying to find the strike zone with it instead of throwing it and trusting it to find the strike zone. Trying to guide it a little bit too much right now.
As Buck described, the Netherlands has 3 arms that they'll probably run out there in the first 7 innings. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Ricardo's throw, cut. The throw back to first is in time. He's out at first base. Terrific play by both Dechenko Ricardo, the catcher, and Jonathan Scope, the second baseman. A play so good, it had its own theme music. It goes as a caught stealing, and it has Victor Mesa muttering to himself in the Cuban dugout. And Despain walks and slams the bat down. He wanted something to swing at.
Well, and that's a mistake, a 2-out walk to this powerful lineup.
First round scores to finish things. Venezuela 11-6. Of course, neither Venezuela or Spain are moving on. And a big win by USA. 7 runs in the final 2 innings. Dominican beats Puerto Rico. So it's USA, it's Canada, it's the Dominican Republic, and it's Puerto Rico. And they'll all be at Marlins Park in Miami for that second round. high pop. Jonathan Scope is out. Remember, Ballantine has the bad groin, and he's there, and he makes the catch. He barely got there from straightaway right field. Scoreless in Tokyo. Scoreless in the Tokyo Dome. This was a solemn day here around Japan. It's the 2-year anniversary of the Great East Japan earthquake. And a minute of silence. An estimated 20,000 people perished. And the flag bearers were 7 school children from Fukushima. Ground ball out to short. Barbaro Arrua Barruena fires to first in time. 1 pitch, 1 out for Vladimir Garcia here in the second. And Koji Yamamoto, the manager of Team Japan, released a statement just like the people in the affected area keep moving forward with the strong spirit of never give up. Team Japan will follow that spirit and keep fighting. Scoreless ball game. After that Kurt Smith ground ball, Yorendel de Caster, who has not seen significant time at all in this tournament, just 1 for 2, and that came last night. But he's a veteran of international play. He's 33, and he had one of the biggest at-bats in Netherlands history. It was de Caster's sharp ground ball up the first base line in the bottom of the 12th inning down in Puerto Rico that went off of Willie Ibar for the game winner. Actually, it was the bottom of the 11th. And the Netherlands beat the Dominican, and that was their second win over the Dominican. Xander Bogaerts has been starting at third, but in this one, Hensley Meulens decided to go with a veteran, a guy that's been in a lot of international games like this.
And we mentioned that the Netherlands has won the last 4 games between these 2 ball clubs, including the first game in this round. Netherlands beat them in the exhibition game before the start of this tournament, and then in 2011 they beat Cuba twice, including the gold medal game to win the gold medal in the World Cup. So both these clubs are aware of their recent matchups.
2-2, foul back to the screen, and the count stays at 2-2. So this is a Netherlands lineup that's very different from game 1 when they handled Cuba 6-2. You don't have Bernardina out there. He's got a wrist contusion. De Caster is starting at third base. And right now there's got to be a question as to whether Vladimir Ballantine can continue. Here's the 2-2. Another slider. And how about that? You put the veteran in there, and he gets a 1-out single to center field. Between innings, when he came off of the field, Vladimir Ballantine, who tweaked his groin on a stolen base attempt, the trainer greeted him, and they disappeared into the clubhouse right away.
Well, there's not much you can do with a groin injury other than wrap it, try to put some pressure on it to get him through this ball game. I mean, there's no magic potion that's going to make that thing heal. But you might be able to throw an ace bandage on it and put some pressure on it, at least to keep him in this game.
This is Kilian Sams. And yes, I know we've been calling him Kilian Sams throughout the tournament. That's because that's how he's known in the Netherlands, and that's how the coaching staff and others address him. But around the cage today, we asked him, hey, what would you like to be called, Sams or Sams? And he said, well, I want to be in Tacoma in AAA this year, so call me Sams, like Sam's Club.
Yeah, call me whatever you want to, just call me in Tacoma. That's the AAA ball club of the Seattle Mariners, and this is a very interesting young man. He's playing center field, taking over for the injured Roger Bernardina, and in his own words, Sam's told us that's his best position. He has terrific speed.
So they don't lose a whole lot with Sams in center field. Breaking ball misses, and it's 2-0, and this was certainly for the Netherlands, this was the game plan. Try to get Garcia in 2-0 counts, 3-0 counts, hitters counts.
And they know when Garcia has base runners on, he's going to throw a lot of sliders. We saw DeCaster sit on sliders in his at bat. There's a fastball fouled back. But they have a pretty good scouting report. Former big leaguer Calvin Maduro is scouting for them, and he's been an assistant coach with this team. He knows Garcia very well. He is surprised that they chose to start him in this game because he has been so dominant pitching in late inning situations.
And Hensley Mullen says that when he closes, it's upper 90s, and it's good stuff, 97-ish. 94 is where he's topped out in this one. And that's where he sits on the inside corner, and Sam's held up. That had some run on it as well.
It's certainly high enough, and it caught the inside corner, according to Chris Guccione, the home plate umpire.
So DeCaster's the runner at first. We are scoreless in the bottom of the second, and injuries an issue for the Netherlands. 2-2 got him. Sam swings and misses.
There's that slider again. His second strikeout, both coming on the slider, and you can see Sam's didn't take a stride. He was aware he was going to get that breaking pitch, but it was down and away, and he couldn't connect.
So still at first is DeCaster, and here is Deshenko Ricardo. Ricardo in the 8th spot. He's moved up in the lineup. Guy spent some time in the San Francisco Giants organization. 6 years in the minor leagues with Baltimore and San Francisco. He's handled the pitching staff quite well. And he hits one to left center field. Over for it is Heredia. Covers a lot of ground out there, and he makes the catch. We'll see if Ballantine comes out as we head to the third. Scoreless. Great to have the MetLife blimp with us again. Snoopy 1, 1,500 feet up in the air. The MetLife blimp has provided a unique perspective for fans for over 25 years. Thrilled to be a part of the 2013 World Baseball Classic. And that is a look at the Tokyo Sky Tree. It's a broadcasting restaurant and observation tower here in Tokyo. It is the tallest tower in the world at 2,080 feet, second tallest structure in the world. Broken bat and a roller out towards second. It's kicked and then out at first. Scope recovers just in time to get the catcher, Frank Morajon.
Well, they're lucky it was the catcher, because Scope, who's normally sure-handed, has bobbled a couple of balls in the last 2 games. He goes after it off to the side, kicks off the heel of his glove, and Morajon, the catcher, with a head-first slide. They're barely able to get him at first. You got to take advantage of those routine outs.
Scope is all smiles now, but you can't say the same for Hensley Mullins. Yorendel DeCaster goes from third base to right field, and Vladimir Ballantine is out of the ball game for the Netherlands. Scope calls for it. DeCaster's behind him, and Scope handles it. 2 quick outs for Orlando Intima.
Yeah, you're really going to see the depth of the Netherlands tested. There's Hanley Stacia, who has taken over at third base, pushing DeCaster out to right field. DeCaster has spent 15 seasons in the minor leagues, and he has played in right field. He's got a total of 169 games in right, so he's comfortable out there, and certainly probably a better option than a limping Vladimir Ballantine.
Guillermo Heredia, the leadoff hitter for Cuba. So the Netherlands, when they beat Cuba 6-2, had Bernardina in the 3 spot in center and Ballantine in the cleanup spot in right, and neither are in there right now. And I guess by bringing Stacia in, it also confirms that in this obvious emergency situation, Bernardina is not good to go with the wrist.
Yeah, Bernardina 2 for 18 in the series, but he is the lone left-handed hitter. Stacia is a switch hitter, but everyone else in the lineup is right-handed. I think that has something to do with the fact that Vladimir Garcia started for Cuba as opposed to Wilmer Perez, who was the left-handed starter we saw against Japan in the round 1 final.
Hereny's had a tough time getting on base in this classic. High fly ball center field. Sams is out there under it, and he makes the catch. 1-2-3 inning for Orlando Intima. We're still scoreless. Scoreless ball game. Win, go to San Francisco. Lose, go home. And over here on this side of the bracket, Japan last night with a whitewashing of the Netherlands, stunning everybody surrounding the World Baseball Classic, is on their way to San Francisco. They await the winner of this game. Those two will play tomorrow night for seeding purposes for San Francisco. Bottom of the third, Randolph Odubert, the number 9 hitter, pulls up, does not offer, and Odubert will be followed by Andrelton Simmons and then Jonathan Scope. If you've just joined us, Roger Bernardina, center fielder for the Netherlands of the Washington Nationals, out with a wrist contusion. He was hit last night by Japan. And Vladimir Ballantyne trying to steal second back in the first inning, injured what appears to be his left groin. He stayed in for an inning. He is out now, and that's 2 big losses for the Netherlands. 1-1 pitch is hammered to left field. Despain is back, and it's off the wall. Odubert around first, headed for second. Strong throw, and he beats it. Just beats it. Randolph Odubert, just 3 at-bats in the tournament, and that's his first hit. And a leadoff double for the Netherlands.
Huge hit from your 9 hitter, and this is a fastball that stays about belt high, and Odubert turns on it. He rifles it off the wall. Alberto Despain made a heck of a play and a strong throw, but not in time to get Odubert. The Netherlands, with their 3rd hit already tonight against Garcia, and there's nothing quite as effective as a leadoff double in a scoreless game.
Now Simmons is up, squares, and fouls it at the plate, and Simmons didn't look like he was sacrificing it. It looked like he was casually trying to drop one down for a bunt, and I don't think that's what his manager, Hensley Mullins, had in mind.
You're either going to bunt in this situation or let Simmons swing away. He's a very good hitter. He's got a lot of pop and a guy that can drive in a run. But we have seen a lot of sacrifice bunts throughout this tournament.
Simmons squares, there's the bunt, and it is foul. And that puts Simmons behind in the count 0-2. He's a young hitter and an aggressive hitter. And as we saw in his first at bat, he will go out of the zone to get himself out when he popped out to the pitcher.
Yeah, and what happened too, if he was given the sacrifice on the first pitch, he really cost himself a strike because he didn't square around. He just jabbed at it and fouled it off. Now he's in a hole 0-2, and you don't expect him to bunt with 2 strikes. He's going to have to get a little more comfortable doing that if he's going to hit leadoff on a regular basis for the Braves.
And I would be surprised if Garcia threw him a strike here at 0-2. Odubert has sprinter speed at second base. Breaking ball, chopper to short. Around it is Arrua Barruena. Sliding safely is Simmons at first base. Abreu had to come off the bag, and a heads-up play by Simmons to take the inside path instead of the outside one.
That's a very difficult play for a base runner. First of all, you think you've got a chance for an infield hit. It's a breaking ball chopped off the dirt in front of home. Arrua Barruena throws offline, and look at the instincts of Simmons. He goes to the inside. He sees Abreu coming off the bag. That's a terrific play. An instinctive play by Andrelton Simmons.
And so now you've got Jonathan Scope, but remember, Ballantyne is not behind him. Hanley Stacia is the hitter on deck. Regardless, he'll bunt. Charging is Gurriel, flips it to first in time to get the out. And so the biggest at bat of the game now comes from a guy that wasn't even in the starting lineup. Hanley Stacia finds himself at the plate with runners second and third. Jonathan Scope sets down a nice sacrifice bunt.
Well, we talked about the spirit of this ball club. They've lost 2 of their regular outfielders in Bernardina and now Ballantine, and they're going to have to ask some of the extra guys to get it done. Randolph Odeber has done his part. He's already had the leadoff double in this inning. Second and third, one out the infield, is going to have to play it in.
Stacia, who spent last year at AA and AAA in the Brewers organization. First pitch breaking ball. And he goes around. It's 0-1.
You just have to believe in this pressurized situation, whoever draws first blood's going to have a distinct advantage.
And the Netherlands has their opportunity right now. Cuba's infield is in. Stacia inserted into the 3 spot for the injured Vladimir Ballantine. Andrew Jones is on deck. 0-1 pitch. Hit him! Wow, a fastball hit Stacia. And now it's Andrew Jones with the bases loaded. And here comes Victor Mesa. Look at that. He took the batting gloves out of his back pocket. He wasn't wearing batting gloves. He's putting them on his way to the mound.
He's had those batting gloves on throughout this tournament, and he appeared to try to change his luck for some reason, but he's putting them on now as he's gone to the mound talking to his veteran, Vladimir Garcia. He seems very calm, and he's just kind of delivering a message about, hey, let's just make a play here. We got 1 out. We get a ground ball. We'll get out of this situation. But Andrew Jones is the batter. Totally different situations than Stacia at the plate.
Gonzalez, the lefty, he's pitched well in this tournament, and so has Iglesias.
Yeah, that's been the first tandem we have seen on a regular basis whenever the starter gets in trouble for Cuba.
Big moment early on in Tokyo.
Remember, the Netherlands thinks that Garcia is going to throw sliders with runners on base. Andrew Jones well aware of it. You just got to make sure you get one that you can hit and don't chase those borderline sliders.
Jones smoked a ground ball to third for the final out of the first. The Cuban infield is back for 2. As we told you, pitchers have been cautious with Andrew Jones in this tournament. Garcia obviously can't do that here. There's the slider, and he went around.
Andrew Jones asking Chris Guccione, why didn't you check? But there was the slider, and Jones went too far and finds himself behind. Look at how far Abreu is behind Stacia at first. That's significant. Should there be a ball hit on the ground, Stacia can get a huge running start. Now Abreu backs up even further.
0-1 to Jones. High fastball, 95 miles an hour. And he overthrew it.
Andrew Jones has become a much better breaking ball hitter later on in his career. And you can bet he's got a game plan. He told us last night he was looking slider against Maeda, but Maeda threw them in such good spots you couldn't even offer at it.
1-1 to Jones. Bags loaded, 1 out in the third. Garcia, slider, fly ball, left field. Despain under it, makes the catch. Runner's tag. Odeber will score, and the Netherlands is on the board first. Jones delivers.
The Netherlands couldn't have had a bigger break than that of Hanley Stacia getting hit by the pitch. Garcia made a huge mistake. Second and third, 1 out. He hit Stacia to load the bases for the veteran Andrew Jones, and there he gets his slider, the spinner that stays on the inside part of the plate, and he puts the Netherlands up 1-0.
We told you Odeber has sprinter speed. He legged out that double, and he scores here. And the Netherlands, without Roger Bernardino, without Vladimir Ballantine, are up 1-0. And don't sleep on Curt Smith. He's been potent in this tournament. 5 for 16, a homer, and 5 RBIs. And it was his home run that got the Netherlands started against Cuba in their 6-2 win.
He hit a leadoff home run in his first at bat in the top of the second inning against Cuba.
You got good speed out there. Simmons at second. Stacia at first. Smith with a big rip. It's 0-1.
Andrelton Simmons has made a couple of bad base running plays in this tournament, and he's getting awful frisky around second base. Morejon, the catcher, can really throw.
Oh, hanging breaking ball. Smith got a pitch to hit, and he fouls it back. It's 0-2. It all started with Randolph Odeber doubling. Odeber would not have been in the lineup were it not for the injury last night to Roger Bernardina, hit by a pitch late in the game against Japan. The wrist too sore to start, too sore to come in when Ballantine left the game with a sore groin. And so Odeber's double starts the inning. He scores on Andrew Jones' sac fly, and now Smith, who spent last year in Double-A Jacksonville with Miami, stands at the plate. 0-2 pitch coming from Garcia. Runner goes. Ground ball, base hit left field. Here comes Simmons. He will score. The Netherlands is up 2-0.
Kurt Smith with another big RBI, and Mesa saying, hey, don't cover. With 2 outs, you don't care if the guy steals. Hold your ground defensively, and this is the 3rd out of the inning. But because Simmons was breaking toward 3rd, Ulieski Gurriel goes to cover the bag. You've seen it forever in the major leagues with 2 outs. If a runner's going from 3rd, especially in a situation like this, hold your defensive position, and you'd have been out of the inning.
Now DeCaster, runners 1st and 2nd again.
Simmons' aggressive base running. He got a huge jump at 2nd with 2 outs, and they weren't going to throw him out. Gurriel, the 3rd baseman, made a mistake by covering. Hold your ground, you get a routine ground ball, and you get out of the inning.
And Simmons picked an 0-2 pitch to run on. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and it's a strike. Twice in this inning, Garcia has had hitters 0-2, and twice he's given up hits. The chopper with the acrobatic slide by Simmons, and that RBI single by Smith.
The Netherlands had a pretty good scouting report on Garcia in that they felt like he wouldn't really come after you and try to finish you off with fastballs.
DeCaster fouls it back to the screen, and it's 1-2.
Here's another 2-strike count now, and let's see if Garcia goes right back to that slider.
Yurendel DeCaster, the 33-year-old, a bit of a surprise starter as well tonight at 3rd base. For the youngster, Xander Bogaerts, the 20-year-old super prospect for the Red Sox. And DeCaster delivered a single in the 2nd. Smith at first. Stacia with good speed at 2nd. Fastball misses out. 2-2.
It was a good fastball, but he had no intention of throwing it close.
Yurendel DeCaster's family. DeCaster, longtime international player for the Netherlands.
Boy, there's a lot of indecision between Garcia and Morejon. Morejon continues to look in the dugout. You have to wonder whether or not they're calling pitches.
Two. Breaking ball in the dirt. Runners hold. And the count full now at 3-2. And that gives everybody a head start. Stacia from 2nd. Smith from 1st. And the bullpen is fired up.
Well, and they're ready. Ander Guevara, the right-hander. Norberto Gonzalez, the left-hander. As Rich mentioned earlier, he's pitched very well throughout this tournament.
Victor Mesa paces. Runners will be moving. Garcia, the 3-2 to DeCaster. Breaking ball, caught the inside corner, and the inning is over. But the Netherlands puts 2 on the board and strikes first against Cuba here in Tokyo. Two nothing, Netherlands down 2 regulars. The Netherlands has put 2 on the board, and in the third, a key play. Hanley Stacia hit. Andrew Jones would deliver a sacrifice fly to make it 1-0, and then with 2 outs and Andrelton Simmons on the move, Kurt Smith, who's been a real hidden hero for the Netherlands in this tournament, singles to left. That one smoked in the gap, and extra bases for Yulieski Gurriel, and Cuba is right back in business here in the 4th.
It's the real test for Intema. Second time through the order, the hitters have a little bit more knowledge about what they're dealing with. This is a high fastball. And I tell you what, you keep the ball up against Cuba and you're going to get hurt. This is how the inning started for the Netherlands. A leadoff double. They were able to turn it into 2 runs.
Chiron Martis, right-hander, is up. He was pitcher number 2 for Bert Blyleven tonight. And now Fernandez takes up. Now remember, both pitchers last night in the first 3 innings for the Netherlands continually kept it up, and Japan hit 6 home runs as a result. Fernandez popped out back in the first. Intema, he's up again, and that's a real danger sign.
Yeah, and that to me says he's starting to tire a little bit. Mechanically, he's not being able to get the ball down. As a catcher, your remedy to address this, call a breaking ball. It'll cause the pitcher to get out in front and get that release point to where he can get the ball down.
2-0 pitch. Fastball smoked into right field. Over for it is DeCaster. That's going to score the run. Gurriel is in, and that pitch was eye high. And Fernandez jumped all over it. Boy, is he a good hitter.
He has really been the star in this lineup. Driving in runs. He now has 6 ribbies for the tournament. He's scored 8 runs. He's doing exactly what you want from your 3-hitter, and there's another eye-high fastball. And you're going to have to change things quickly to slow this offense down. Get the ball down.
Because now, here come the power bats. Cepeda, Abreu, Despain. Bert Blyleven in the background, the pitching coach. Little chopper, Smith gets it out there. Simmons, the pivot is in time. Terrific turn by Andrelton Simmons, and the Netherlands gets 2 very important outs.
Well, there's the difference. The ball up around the letters or the ball down around the knees, and this is a good infield. You need to give them opportunities to help you out. Look at the pitch. It's down, knee high. Watch the turn at second by Simmons. He has a terrific arm. He threw it flat-footed and still had enough on it to complete the double play.
Still, Intema has to deal with Abreu, who can hit it a mile. One and 0. Abreu swung through a breaking ball to strike out his first AB, and he got one up, but it was out enough. 1-1.
Look at the catcher, Nishenko Ricardo, and how he's accentuating down, trying to get the pitcher to really focus on that glove. Give it to me down here. You can even create some movement with that glove that will really catch the eye of the pitcher.
1-1. Overhand breaking ball. Now, Intema has pitched in this tournament 3 scoreless innings in a very big win in the first round over Korea. But that's it. And so, as you pointed out, here he is in the 4th, and he looks like he's tiring.
Yeah, and it's not so much physically tiring, but the emotions and the importance of the game will wear you down quickly.
3-1 pitch. Fastball hammered. Center field deep. That ball's gone. This game's tied.
Victor Mesa believes that Abreu is the smartest hitter they have on their team. And he gets another pitch up, and he stays on it and drives it to center field. And we have seen power to all parts of the ballpark, and it's tough to keep Abreu contained.
Despain is hit by a pitch, and he's on his way to first, and I'd be surprised if Intima sticks around, because it's coming apart for him in a hurry, and here comes Hensley Mullins.
Well, we mentioned the difficulty working to a lineup second time through the order. Yulieski Gurriel started it with a double. Fernandez an RBI single. They got to double play, but then Abreu smokes one to center, and then Despain gets smoked, and that'll end the night for Intima.
2-2 in the fourth. Tokyo Dome, where the final ticket from this side of the bracket will be punched tonight to San Francisco. Everything starts on Tuesday in Miami with Italy against the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico against USA.
Team USA with a big win over Canada to move on to the second round.
Yasmani Tomas will face Chiron Martis, big right-hander. Gets a strike, and it's 0-1. Now Martis has big league experience. He's out of Curacao. In his big league career, 6-6, but an ERA of over 5. And last year, he was on 2 different AAA teams and 2 different AA teams. Breaking ball in the dirt.
He spent parts of 2 seasons with the Washington Nationals. He's made his debut in 2008 with the Nationals and took a loss in his first start against the Atlanta Braves. He's made a total of 19 starts. He's appeared in 20 games overall in the big leagues, and as Rich mentioned, a 6-6 record.
1-1 breaking ball, and he gets a strike. If you're just happening by the Netherlands and Cuba, winner goes to San Francisco, loser is out. Japan is headed to San Francisco. This is the end of round 2 here. The beginning of round 2 on the other side of the bracket in Miami on Tuesday. 1-2 pitch is outside, and the Netherlands, who won their opening game against Cuba, not only lost last night, but they've lost 2 of their starters. Their number 3 and 4 hitter are no longer in the lineup. Roger Bernardina hit by a pitch last night, contusion of the wrist, he's out. And Vladimir Ballantyne, the 2-time home run champ here in Japan, injured a groin trying to steal a base in the first inning. Regardless of that, the Netherlands were able to score 2 runs in the bottom of the third, but Cuba's answered with 2 here. Got him, outside corner. Martis strikes out Tomas, but the damage done, and Cuba is right back at 2-2. Jose Abreu has big power, his 3rd homer of the tournament. Tokyo Dome, 2-2, Cuba and the Netherlands. WorldBaseballClassic.com for all the caps, jerseys, plus news and video highlights. You can shop 24 hours a day. Go to WorldBaseballClassic.com. You can do it on your computer, your tablet, or your smartphone. Kalian Sams is up right now, and a fastball at 93 miles an hour from Vladimir Garcia. Into the fourth inning is Garcia, and that's a little bit of a moral victory for him with Victor Mesa, especially after giving up the 2 runs in the third. He struck Sams out back in the second.
Garcia's been as high as 96 miles an hour, and I think he's done a pretty good job. He's still utilizing that slider in pivotal situations, but his fastball has been good. That's the bread and butter pitch for Vladimir Garcia. He leans heavily on that slider. The only one he really got in trouble with was the one he hung to Andrew Jones, the sac fly for the first run back in the third.
1-2. Breaking ball buried in the dirt. And it's 2-2. Two-time champion Japan is through to San Francisco. Cuba beat Japan in the first round in Fukuoka. Last night, Japan stunned everybody, even themselves, by hitting 6 home runs. And mercy ruling Netherlands. 2-2 coming. Up and in. Sams is a big kid.
This is a fastball. It gets up and in. Sams has to bail out, and you can bet that Garcia is just trying to set up that slider. He's going to throw that slow breaking slider, started on the plate, break it down and away.
That's how he struck out DeCaster with runners on base in the third. This Cuban right-hander is at 53 pitches. 80 is the limit in the second round. It goes up to 95 when teams hit San Francisco. 3-2 coming. Oh, he stayed with a fastball, and he missed. And he can't believe it. Neither can Victor Mesa.
Yeah, he made a good pitch in that he threw a fastball, but he just missed the outside corner. You can see Morejon had to reach for it, and Garcia felt like he had struck out Sams to start the inning. I like the pitch, though. He's mixed things up a little more effectively.
He's a lot less predictable than the Netherlands had hoped. Now you've got the catcher, Dashenko Ricardo. The Netherlands played little ball to lead to the 2 innings, so the likelihood here that they're going to try something, either starting the runner or hitting and running, is in play. Sams has great speed.
Yeah, he is a sprinter, and he can really run. Don't get fooled by his size. Hensley Mullins knows they can do a lot of things with Sam's speed at first.
He's running on the pitch. Swing and a chopper to third. Gurriel across the diamond. And Sams gets to second. The Netherlands with a runner in scoring position. And it's Randolph Odeber up right now. Odeber doubled to start the third.
Odeber getting a start tonight. Got a high fastball and drilled it off the base of the wall in left field. Leadoff double. He came around to score the first run of the ball game.
That's the one thing with the change in the lineup necessitated by injury and the one tweak with DeCaster getting in there. It's pushed some real speed to the bottom of the order for the Netherlands. Sams and Odeber can fly. And Odeber swings and fouls it into the glove of Morejon.
Yeah, Morejon's doing a good job of mixing up the pitches. After Odeber got the fastball for the double in his first at bat, they come right back with the fastball and probably surprised Odeber a bit.
Now Buck Martinez has been keeping the Victor Mesa meter, so to speak. This is mound trip, what, number 2?
Mound trip number 2.
And there's already been 2 team meetings in front of the dugout.
And you can see the left-hander is Gonzalez. He's ready. He's been up 3 times already tonight. Yonder Guevara as well. They're both ready. And Mesa understands the significance of this game. He's not going to let anything left to chance. He's going to make sure everybody understands what he wants done here. Great
speed with Sams at second. fastball almost got him on the belt buckle, and it was a fastball that Odeber pulled off the wall and left in the 3rd inning.
But Morejon has started the last 2 games behind the plate for Cuba. He's the more advanced defensive catcher. He's done a nice job of mixing up the pitches and keeping the Netherlands a little off balance.
Andrelton Simmons is on deck. Odeber is property of the Washington Nationals, who are well represented on Team Netherlands. Roger Bernardina, as we told you, out with a wrist injury. 1-1 breaking ball, and he fouls it back to the screen. Odeber spent last year in High A Potomac.
Garcia's got a good slider. It's a little bit bigger slider than we saw last night from the Japanese starter, Kenta Maeda. A little bit different kind of breaking ball. This is borderline curveball, but it's a big sweeper, and he's got tremendous confidence in that slider.
And he's out in front 1-2. Breaking ball in on the hands. Stays at 1-2. Victor Mesa, after every pitch or every swing by his hitter, is on his feet, pleading his case not only with his coaching staff, but also shouting out instructions and reenacting the play.
Well, you know that Victor Mesa would love to get out on the field and play. He's 7th all-time in hits in the National Series in Cuba. Got over 2,000 hits, and he's got a lot of player instinct still.
Ground ball towards short. Runner headed to 3rd. The throw is not in time. He's safe. And there's the speed of Sams. He beats the throw from Arrua Baruena. And a big play by the Netherlands. A gamble, but it pays off.
Yeah, unconventional base running by Sams. Anytime that ball's hit in front of you when you're running for second, you're going to generally stay at second base. You're in scoring position already, but Sams can really run. Arrua Baruena makes it. Boy, he made it easily, didn't he? Watch his hand extend underneath the tag of Gurriel. He is clearly safe.
Trevor Grieve, the umpire at 3rd, with a very good call. Now you've got Simmons up. Sams at 3rd. Odeber on the fielder's choice is at 1st. And remember the scouting report on Simmons. He usually makes something happen in the first 3 pitches of an at-bat.
Very aggressive hitter.
Infield back for 2. Slider, it's outside, and it's 1-0.
They asked Simmons to bunt in his last at bat. He bunted 2 balls foul. I don't think this is a bunting situation. Simmons has gap power. He's got the ability to knock it out of the ballpark, and I think you want him to swing the bat with confidence right here. Don't take the bat out of his hands. Give him a chance to give you the lead.
Remember, Odeber, great speed at 1st, as with Sams, and there's the throw. Also something to keep in mind, the World Baseball Classic is played under Major League Baseball rules, and in 2013, Major League Baseball rules have eliminated a right-handed pitcher's step towards 3rd, fake the throw, and spin towards 1st. That is now a balk.
And obviously this would be the situation where a pitcher might use that move just to see if maybe they're going to try hit and run. If you fake to 3rd, that runner gets over anxious at 1st, and sometimes you can pick him off, but that's no longer in play.
Simmons ready. Here's the 1-0. Runner goes. Breaking ball taken for a strike. He'll steal it without a throw. Bottom of the order has a lot of speed, and Hensley Mullins is using it tonight.
Well, Morejon, recognizing the great speed at 3rd in Sams, never really thinks about 2nd. You can see his first look was at 3rd to make sure Sams wasn't breaking toward the plate.
And a great pitch to run on, a breaking ball that was low and away. Infield creeps in on the carpet. Banged off the catcher.
Once again, he went right back to that slider. Morejon shaking off the cobwebs. He took that foul tip right off the mask. It's a slider, and it's a pretty hittable pitch. You can see Simmons stays back and just gets enough of it to foul it back. But even with 2 strikes, you've got to have the breaking ball in the back of your mind. Think breaking ball and fight off the fastball.
Infield in. Runners second and third. 2-2, bottom 4. A trip to San Francisco for either team on the line.
Remember, the Netherlands has beaten Cuba the last 4 times they've played each other. They are not intimidated by the #1 ranked team in the world.
Garcia's 1-2. Breaking ball, fly ball, left field, deep enough. Tagging is Sams, and he'll come to the plate. And the Netherlands has done it again. Andrelton Simmons with a sacrifice fly. It's 3-2.
Sams himself manufactured that run on the fielder's choice off the bat of the #9 hitter, Randolph Odubert. Sams, right in the face of the shortstop, goes from second to third and then scores easily. Another breaking ball. Simmons didn't hit it that hard, but he certainly hit it deep enough in left with the great speed at third in Killian Sams.
So the Netherlands, who had a 2-0 lead, is back on top. And here's young Jonathan Schoop, the 21-year-old Baltimore Orioles prospect. Schoop had that big game against Cuba in game 1, and a fastball up and in.
This game has been tightly contested. This is a 3-2 fastball just off the plate. Vladimir Garcia thought it was strike 3. That started the inning. A leadoff walk, and they were able to cash it in.
Schoop has big power, 2 homers, and a history of big hits in big games for the Netherlands.
He got the game-winning hit in a 2-1 win over Cuba in the World Cup in 2011. It was the gold medal game, and that was the second time in that tournament that the Netherlands beat Cuba. But Schoop has a knack for getting big hits, as he did in the first game these two met.
Yeah, the 3-run homer put it out of reach of Cuba. There's a fastball for a strike. And if you need a closer, you might think about Schoop, though it's a long ways from the 2004 Little League World Series. He saved the championship game for Curacao. 2 outs, a run across. He's still got great speed out there in Randolph Odubert.
This is something that the Cuban team will do during the course of an inning. When they sense that the opponents are starting to gain some momentum, they'll slow the game down to a dead stop. And that's what they've done right now. And the catcher's really controlling the tempo of this game, and it has really slowed down dramatically.
Schoop got a 2-0 fastball. The 2-1. Runner goes, pitch is low, the throw skips away. Headed to the plate is Odubert. He's gonna score! Wow! Gurriel held his ground this time, but Morejon still threw the ball. And it's 4-2.
Miscommunication this time. The catcher comes up firing, and you can see Gurriel held his ground defensively to guard against a possible ground ball, and it cost Cuba a run.
A stolen base and an E2. It was Kurt Smith single with Andrelton Simmons running from second to third that took Gurriel to the line and allowed Smith's ball to get to left. And this time, Gurriel held his ground after a scolding from his manager, Victor Mesa.
And now Mesa looks like he's going to make a pitching change, and he's saying, calm down. It's the 4th inning. We've got a lot of time. And he's going to go out and have a chat with his pitcher, and the catcher's not going to the mound. That's kind of interesting in this situation, but Mesa's going to make a pitching change. Interesting ball game already.
Hanley Stacia is due up. Cuba to the pen for the first of what probably will be many times. Chris Guccione is out to the mound, and he's going to change baseballs once again because Victor Mesa, with his batting gloves, took the ball from his starter, gave it to Norberto Gonzalez. But I think Chris Guccione, with a little bit of gamesmanship, he waited until the lefty finished his warm-up tosses, then gave him another ball.
Yeah, so he is going to throw the first pitch of his outing with a brand new baseball, one he's not thrown in warm-ups.
Hanley Stacia is a switch hitter. He was hit by a pitch back in that 3rd inning. Jonathan Scopes at first. And a good breaking ball from Gonzalez. He's been impressive in relief in this tournament. Stacia is in the ball game because of the injury to Vladimir Valentin, who's out of the game with a apparent pulled groin. Netherlands already down a center fielder. Roger Bernardina's out with a wrist contusion. But it hasn't dampened not only the enthusiasm, but the effectiveness of the Netherlands. They've got a 4-2 lead against powerhouse Cuba.
Well, if you're seeing the Netherlands for the first time, they have athletes all over the field. They're strong, they're fast, they've got speed, and their speed has led to a couple of runs this inning.
Gonzalez goes to first. The stolen base has been key.
They've scored 2 runs this inning without a hit. Leadoff walk, ground out, then a fielder's choice in which Sams went from 2nd to 3rd. So it was 1st and 3rd, 1 out. And then Odeber stole 2nd.
Stacia, center field. Heredia is there, and he makes the catch. But the Netherlands scratches out 2 more and has a 4-2 lead in Tokyo. Happy to have the MetLife blimp Snoopy 1 providing coverage from 1,500 feet in the air. It's provided a unique perspective for fans for over 25 years. Thrilled to be part of the 2013 World Baseball Classic. That is the Caminarion, the outer gate that leads to the oldest and one of the most significant temples in Japan, the Sensoji. Pinch hitter for the catcher, Morejon. And it's the speedy Luis Rivera, who is 0 for 2 in this tournament. Chiron Martis, grounder into right field, and Rivera, with all that speed, is aboard at first. Well, the Cubans answered when the Netherlands went up 2-0 in the 3rd. The Cubans got in the 4th 2 of their own. Victor Mesa mixing and matching. He's got Rivera aboard at first. Due up next is the shortstop, Barbaro Arrua Barruena. But Mesa.
¿Qué tenemos que hacer ahora? Entonces hacerla. Si jugamos mal a la defensa, vamos a hacer eso a la ofensiva. Pero no podemos parar en el 7º, 8º y pasarla. Tenemos que hacerla ahora mismo. ¿Ok?
It's the 3rd time he's met his ball club as they come off the field, and he seemed to be under control. Just explaining to me, we've got plenty of time now. We've got the bats to come back from any deficit. Let's just have good at-bats.
Yosvani Peraza. Sort of the Cuban version of Pablo Sandoval.
He's got a lot of power.
And he takes down low. He is a catcher, and so he's already moved Morejon out of the game. Be interested to see if he keeps Peraza in the game. Martis, fastball, big swing and a miss. It's 1-1. Rivera didn't budge at first base. Certainly he's a threat to run.
Yeah, I think they want this guy to take a hack and try to knock it out of the ballpark, see if they can't tie the game up with one swing of the bat after the leadoff single.
Rivera not running, and it's down low. Now Martis was second on the list. Third on the list was David Bergman. And from the looks of it and the sound of it, he's ready. Robert Einhorn to the right of Hensley Mullins. Peraza to center field. Sams is there, makes the catch. There's one out here in the fifth.
That's interesting that
Victor Mesa is going to pinch hit for the third consecutive hitter, and it's the fifth inning.
Yeah, and while he knows the significance, you just can't allow the Netherlands to put zeros on the board. And the closer they get to the back end of their bullpen, Leon Boyd and Luc van Mil, the Netherlands has some quality arms to close the game out.
Alexi Bell, an outfielder, will pinch hit for the center fielder, Guillermo Heredia. There's Rivera at first. Martis' pitch, fly ball off the end of the bat. It's gonna drop, no! Knocked down, picked up. Rivera has to stop at second. From his angle, it looked like Sams caught it, and briefly from up here, it looked the same way, and Sams is upset that he didn't catch it.
Sams told me before the game tonight that he had a similar play in left field and it kind of drifted away from him. This time he broke back initially, and even though he has that great speed, he's not able to recover. The ball tips off his glove, and he's fortunate it stays close by. So the base runners hold at first and second, but another opportunity given to the Cubans.
And here is Yulieski Gurriel. Doubled his last time up. Breaking ball, hammered center field. Sams goes back at the track. Reaches, can't get it. It's off the wall. Rivera got a late start. The ball is dropped in center. Rivera coming home. Right behind him is Bell, and he scores, and it's tied again. Goodness.
Roger Bernardina was hit by a pitch last night. He's the regular center fielder, and there are two plays in center from back-to-back hitters that prove costly. Sams never got a glove on that drive off the bat of Gurriel, and then he dropped the ball. So that allows Alexi Bell to score all the way from first base. The base runners have to hold their ground. There's a possibility Sams is going to catch it. But then when it bounces back onto the field, Sams picked it up and dropped it, allowing 2 runs to score.
So Gurriel with his second double of the ball game, and a fastball fouled out of play by Jose Fernandez.
We talk an awful lot about Victor Mesa being so animated, but he truly knows his team very well. In this situation, 3 consecutive pinch hitters. He has pushed the right buttons for the ball club, and it's tied at 4.
Fernandez, a ground ball up the middle. Scope has it, sets himself, and gets the out. Moving to third is Gurriel, and now the dangerous Frederick Cepeda comes up. So 2 balls just out of the reach of Kalian Sams out in center field. And Cuba's back even, and this man can give him the lead with a base hit here. He has singled and bounced into a double play. One of the most experienced Cubans.
A switch hitter that's a terrific hitter from either side of the plate, and a very patient hitter. Plus he knows he's got great protection standing on deck in Jose Abreu.
1-0 pitch, fastball outside corner for a strike.
He just doesn't chase borderline pitches.
Changeup floats away. Chiron Martis, the second to work. Orlando Yintema started for the Netherlands. 2-1. That just misses.
Yeah, Cepeda knows in this situation he can be patient, try to force Martis over the plate.
Do you give in to him, or do you, again, stay cautious and face Abreu? And the answer is he's going to face Abreu.
Throw him a changeup on a 3-1 pitch. He liked the matchup righty on righty, even though Abreu homered in his last at bat.
Yes, he did. Abreu homering off of Yintema. The Netherlands burned a pair of starters in last night's ball game, and of course, Diegomar Marquel started and beat Cuba in game one. And this was the ball that Abreu hit out to dead center field. That was off of Yintema. That was the first Cuban comeback. This is the second one. First one tied the game at 2. Now they've tied the game at 4 apiece. And Martis comes inside at 88 miles an hour for a strike.
That's the book on Abreu. You've got to crowd him, preferably down, and keep that fastball inside. Keep him from extending those powerful arms. Deshenko Ricardo, the catcher, has a pretty good idea where they want to approach Abreu. But Abreu is such a good hitter, you can't establish a pattern. He'll pick up on it.
Victor Mesa. Peter Gammons had a great line a few days ago that if you just followed Victor Mesa around, it would be a terrific reality show in itself. Maybe Showtime should look into that this season. Here's the 1-1.
Boy, good pitch. Off-speed breaking ball after 2 fastballs inside, and Abreu just waves at a very weak swing. And you can see that slider in the dirt. I mean, that hit in front of home plate, and Abreu was guessing heater. Quite a contrast in styles in the 2 dugouts.
Equally effective in a 4-4 game. Cuba with runners at the corners and a big bopper at the plate. 1-2 pitch from Martis. In the dirt, nicely blocked by Deshenko Ricardo, who deadened it enough that it didn't roll away. And Cepeda had to hold it first.
First and third, 2 outs. I'd take a shot with a fastball against Abreu. A 2-2 fastball, run it off the plate down and in, and then set up a 3-2 breaking ball. Just roll the dice 3-2 if you get there.
Martis has already thrown 24 pitches. This his first full inning in relief. Two coming. There was the fastball, and he just got a piece of it.
So now you've got a couple of different things in Abreu's mind. Okay, he's beaten me inside with fastballs in 3 of these pitches this at bat. He's thrown inside fastballs. If you're Abreu, do you cheat to get to that inside fastball or stay to your strengths out over the plate? I think he'll stay to his strengths.
Ricardo with a sign, Martis with the pitch. Breaking ball, swings and misses. Still have to throw him out at first with 2 outs, and he does. But Cuba, for the second time, has erased a 2-run lead, and it's 4-4 halfway through in Tokyo. 4-4 to the bottom of the 5th with 3 consecutive pinch hitters in the middle of the game. Victor Mesa has drawn even, but that means he has to make more changes. This is significant. That's the last catcher that Cuba has, Ariel Sanchez, and he's in the bottom of the 5th. He's got a backup infielder now at shortstop. That's Raul Gonzalez. Alexi Bell is going to stay in the ball game, and Bell will push Tomas into center. That's Tomas in center. Bell is in right.
There's only one extra player left on the Cuban bench. That's Andy Ibanez.
That's amazing. And, well, maybe he can catch, but he's not a catcher. Rarely do you see a manager halfway through a ball game burn through 2 catchers.
Yeah. They're looking now at the lineup card. This is interesting. Chris Guccione was talking to Hensley Mullins about the lineup card, and they're making sure they made the proper substitutions. And there were a lot of them. 3 consecutive pinch hitters in the top of the 5th.
Well, remember, the catcher, Peraza, hit for the shortstop. So the question is, does Sanchez go in the 8th spot, or is Gonzalez in the 8th spot?
Right. Because you bring in 2 defensive players, you can put them where you want. And they're making sure that they have the right lineup card. Hensley Mullins, the manager for the Netherlands, is the one that brought it to Guccione's attention at home plate. Now Mesa is out talking to both Alfonso Marquez, the first base umpire, who speaks Spanish. So he's out there to obviously communicate with Mesa.
And Mullins wants to just make sure he's got the right order so he knows who's coming up when. Andrew Jones is coming up now for the Netherlands. If you've been with us all the way, it's been a terrific ball game. If you're just getting up, this is the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo. And this is the final ticket to San Francisco in the World Baseball Classic. Japan, the 2-time champ, is headed back there. The Netherlands or Cuba will join them. And this game decides it. Andrew Jones takes a breaking ball outside. Jones gets to face the left-hander now, Norberto Gonzalez, who took over for Vladimir Garcia in the 4th. Ground out and a sacrifice fly for Jones. And a 2-0 count from Gonzalez.
This has been Andrew Jones' role the last several seasons, hitting against left-handed pitching. He's become a part-time player. Finished up with the Yankees last year.
2-0 pitch. That breaking ball finds the plate, and it's 2-1. With Korea going down on this side of the bracket, all eyes turned to Cuba because Japan wasn't hitting, and many felt Cuba was headed to San Francisco. But a first-round loss to the Netherlands put them on their heels. They got back up and hammered Chinese Taipei to set up this game with the Netherlands. Loser goes home, winner to San Francisco, 3-1. Well, Jones has let 2 pretty good breaking balls come across. It's 3-2.
Yeah, the kind of pitch you want to hit, a breaking ball that's coming to you. Your power hitter, Andrew, of course, a former 50 home run hitter in his prime with the Braves.
2005, he hit 51. A dozen years with Atlanta, 17 years in the big leagues. 3-2. He was all over that one. He drills it into center field, a base hit. Leadoff single for the Netherlands.
Andrew Jones very patient at this point of his career. This looks like another breaking ball, and he may have even been out in front of that, like he hit it off the end of the bat, but he's got enough of it to drive it into center field. And Mesa is back to the mound. Norberto Gonzalez, the left-hander, with Curt Smith, a right-hander. Just a quick visit, a little message for his lefty on how to approach Curt Smith.
The plot line of this ball game has taken a couple of twists, both in a bad way for the Netherlands. Roger Bernardina hit by a pitch last night, unable to go. Smith pulls it foul, and then Vladimir Valentin, their cleanup hitter, the big bat in the middle of the lineup, pulled a groin in the first inning. Bernardina, the 3 hitter, Valentin, the 4 hitter, are out of the game. Bernardina's available to pinch run or come in defensively.
Back in the first inning with Andrew Jones at the plate, Vladimir Valentin came up lame at second base. He would stay in the game defensively, finish that next half inning, and then have to give in to the injury. And you can see him on the bench. He's had ice on that groin, but he is not a factor any longer.
Andrew Jones' base stealing days have long since passed. He's at first. Curt Smith at the plate, and he has hurt Cuba. Remember, Smith had the 2 hits, a homer and a double in game 1, and an RBI single in the 3rd inning of this ball game. He's not real big, but he is powerful. 5'10", 210. Smith waits on a 1-2 from Norberto Gonzalez. Slow roller. Gonzalez at short, shovels. Fernandez's turn is not in time. Smith gets down the line well, and Andrew Jones with a good hard slide at second. USA beating Canada 9-4. They will join Italy in Miami. The Dominican Republic beating Puerto Rico. Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico will be there as well, and things get underway on Tuesday. Italy against the Dominican Republic. That's the afternoon game. And Puerto Rico against USA, the primetime game from Marlins Park in Miami. Roller out to second. Gonzalez's turn is a good one. And Norberto Gonzalez gets a double play grounder. And again, another Netherlands player is down. Jorendel de Caster is down behind first base. And he's in a tremendous amount of pain. 4-4. 4-4 game, 6th inning in Tokyo. The Netherlands already down their number 3 and 4 hitters. Jorendel de Caster got the start, had a hit, this a double play grounder, and on his way to first base, de Caster pulls up and then goes down. And he was carried off of the field on a stretcher. This was moments ago.
It looked like, because he started to feel it before he got to first base, that it was a hamstring injury. No way to tell, obviously, other than the reaction of the player. It looked like it was probably a hamstring. So both teams now have very thin benches.
Xander Bogaerts, super prospect of the Red Sox, at third, and it moves Stacia from third out to right. He's the 3rd right fielder that the Netherlands has used, and that's all because of injury. Alfredo Despain, big power, little body. Well, let me say short body, but there's nothing little about the shoulders and the legs. He is powerfully built.
We were in the elevator this afternoon coming to the ballpark, and he was in the elevator in his uniform. He had a couple of new bats, and you really got an appreciation for just how big he was. Very powerfully built.
Chiron Martis gave up a couple of runs in the 5th. Yulieski Gurriel's second double scored a pair. Cuba has come back twice from 2-run deficits. Here's the 2-2. The difference in the Netherlands and Cuba right now, Bergman is ready, and he's been ready for some time. Yes, they're both down bodies, but the bodies that the Netherlands are missing are their number 3 hitter, Roger Bernardina, and their number 4 hitter, Vladimir Valentin. The heart of Cuba's order is still intact, and Stacia will be tested. He comes trotting in and makes the catch. Despain is out number 1.
Well, in situations like this, it's a very short tournament, not many opportunities, and you have to have versatile players. When managers are selecting the players to be on this roster, they'll look at versatile guys like Stacia, who can play all around the infield. The same can be said about Bogarts, Simmons, and Jonathan Scope. They're all shortstops, but they can move around the infield.
Breaking ball in the air to center. Sams is out there, and he makes the catch. And Martis has 2 outs in the 6th inning. This copyrighted telecast, presented by the authority of the World Baseball Classic, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. So Yasmani Tomas flies out. That's a high pop down the left field line off the bat of Sanchez. Lining it up is Odeber, and he makes the catch, and Martis works a 1-2-3-6. Cuba, the Netherlands, 4-4. (4-4) bottom 6 game summary. It was 2-0 Netherlands. Back comes Cuba. Jose Abreu with a long home run. Then the speed takes over. Netherlands scratches out 2 more runs and reclaims the lead 4-2. Ulieski Gurriel just out of the reach of Kalian Sams. That's a 2-run double. Second double for Gurriel. 4-4 game. Norberto Gonzalez continues on for Cuba in the bottom of the 6th inning. And it's Sams who goes after a high breaking ball for a strike. The starters are long since gone. And Abreu with the only home run of the ball game. Gonzalez misses away. Of course, the Netherlands without Roger Bernardina. Wrist injury, didn't start. Vladimir Valentin out with a groin pull, and Yorendel de Castro, who started at 3rd, had a base hit, has left with a leg injury. So 3 guys out of a starting lineup, and yet here's the Netherlands in a 4-4 tie with powerhouse Cuba in the bottom of the 6th.
And once again, it's basically the strength of their pitching that has kept them in this game. The starter, and now Martis, the reliever, keeping the Cubans in check. Kalian Sams has had an active night. He manufactured a run in the 4th, got a leadoff walk, and then went from 2nd to 3rd on a ground ball to the shortstop, beat the throw, sliding headfirst into 3rd, and then scored on a sac fly by Andrelton Simmons. But he's also had a couple of adventures in center field on defense.
He's also gone from Psalms to Sams in one night.
Very busy night.
He's been called Psalms. That's the pronunciation that has been used around his team, but he wants to be called Sams. And he's late on that breaking ball. Gonzalez has come out of the bullpen, just what Cuba has needed. Solemn ceremony and a very solemn day here in Japan. It's the 2-year anniversary since the Great East earthquake. It's estimated 20,000 people perished. 7 school children from Fukushima were the flag bearers for the moment of silence, and a day of remembrance all across Japan today. Sam strikes out. Here's Dashenko Ricardo. Bottom of the order's been active. Sams has scored a run. Ricardo was in the middle of a hit and run. And the man on deck, Randolph Odeber, has scored twice and doubled. Up with a breaking ball.
Gonzalez has done a nice job of relief. throughout the first round into the second round. He's a veteran, and he moves the ball around very well. He's got a breaking ball he can use to both sides of the plate. He's got a very good changeup. He runs down and away to right-handed hitters.
And that one misses outside. It's just a steady diet of breaking balls to Ricardo. 3-0. And he green lighted him, and he fouls it back.
How about a 3-0 breaking ball from Gonzalez? Tie ball game, and he's not going to give anybody in this lineup a cookie. He continues to use that breaking ball with a lot of confidence.
Gonzalez has been splendid in this tournament in relief, and tonight he's been outstanding. Vladimir Garcia got the start and gave up the 4 runs. It's a good pitch. Came in on the inside corner, and still he hasn't given in with a fastball.
Now, he's thrown 5 pitches to Ricardo. They've all been breaking balls. Ariel Sanchez, his first inning coming into this game defensively, came in last inning as a defensive replacement.
3-2, another breaking ball, and it's pounded foul. While the Netherlands roster has been depleted by 3 injuries, Victor Mesa has burned through his bench almost entirely. Hensley Mullins by necessity, Victor Mesa by design. There's Ballantine, who left in the second inning. 3-2. Another breaking ball. Wow, he didn't give in. He didn't throw a fastball to the number 8 hitter, the catcher. And so here is Randolph Odeber.
Odeber has had a good night at the plate. He doubled and scored in the third, reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the fourth. And if I'm Odeber, what do you think I'm looking for? How about a first pitch breaking ball?
Odeber starting in the outfield in place of Roger Bernardina. There's the breaking ball. It's a strike.
I mean, sooner or later, somebody's got to sit on that breaking ball. And he's thrown them for strikes, but they haven't been great, sharp breaking pitches.
Ricardo the runner at first. Pitches in the dirt. Coming out of Pool B, coming out of Taichung, the Netherlands seem to have shed their Cinderella tag. That's what they were in 09 when they took down the Dominicans and got to the second round. Well, here they came to the second round and had talks of going to San Francisco. But losing your 3 and 4 hitter and your third baseman against Cuba, I think all of a sudden they're back to being underdogs again.
Yeah, man, they're just really thin. They don't have the kind of depth of a team like Cuba. But at the same time, Cuba used 5 players in the 5th inning. But they were able to tie it up.
Odeber takes a strike. Gonzalez at 29 pitches, and any reliever, much like a starter, is held to that maximum of 80 pitches.
When you throw this many sliders and you don't have a good fastball that can counteract that, hitters can fight off the fastball if you should happen to throw it.
Another breaking ball. It's 2-2.
What you have to tell yourself as a hitter is, don't move until he lets it go. Watch it out of his hand, because you know he's not going to beat you with a fastball. He doesn't have that kind of velocity. So you can really be patient. Watch the ball out of his hand. You know it's going to be a breaking ball or a mid to low 80s fastball. Not much more.
Dashenko Ricardo, the catcher at first. jam shot. Gonzalez is going to go to second and get the out. Boy, Gonzalez seems sure of himself, and it pays off. Cuba gets the lead runner.
Boy, that's a play where you don't really anticipate the pitcher having a shot to go to second. He's got to come off the mound a long way, wait for the ball, but he still has time to get the catcher running from first. He's forced at second. That's a pretty veteran move by Gonzalez. But now he's got a base stealing threat at first in Odeberg.
Gonzalez has a pretty good move over to first. Andrelton Simmons, who drove in a big run with a sac fly in the fourth, caused a stir with an infield hit in the third and a matrix-like slide to get that base hit. And he was sitting on an off-speed pitch, first pitch, and he missed it.
Gonzalez did a good job of using a slide step there. Odeberg at first base didn't have much of a chance to get set and even have the time to think about a break.
Odeberg is 24, so he's got experience. He's been in the national system since 2010, and Gonzalez chases him back.
I would go on first move on this pitch. That was a calling card move to first. Just gamble. If you get thrown out, you got your leadoff hitter starting the next inning. Try to get into scoring position right here.
To the plate, and another slow breaking ball, and Simmons way out in front. 0-2.
We have seen in every pool, in every round, unorthodox baseball, and I didn't think it would be unorthodox if he were to run right here. I think it'd be something you'd have to do. You got your hitter at the plate in a hole, 0-2, 2 outs, and he's the leadoff guy.
We'll see if now's the time for Hensley Mullins. He's running, pitch down low, throw, not in time, and he steals it.
And remember, the catcher, Sanchez, came into the game defensively in the 5th inning. And it's always a challenge for a catcher to come off the bench and make a good throw.
And it wasn't first motion. He waited to see. But Odeberg now has 3 stolen bases in the ball game, and he's in scoring position. 1-2 to the Braves shortstop, Andrelton Simmons. He's out of Curacao. And a trip to the mound from Ariel Sanchez.
Simmons and Scope have become very important hitters for Hensley Mullins, given the fact that Roger Bernardina and Vladimir Valentin are out of the lineup. Bernardina didn't start. He's still eligible to play in this game. We might see him as a pinch runner, and who knows? He might even save him for a pivotal at bat. We really don't know his status other than he was not in the starting lineup after being hit by a pitch last night.
An hour before the game, Hensley Mullins told us that exactly that, pinch running, maybe a defensive replacement, and if as the game goes the wrist loosens up, a possible pinch hit appearance. Right now it's Simmons, 1-2 pitch coming, and that time he waited a little longer, but he still pulled it foul. He seems to be dialing in this breaking ball.
Yeah, and you have to, when you see this many pitches, recognize that he's not going to beat you with a fastball. The breaking ball is just kind of a tumbler. And Andrelton Simmons back to talk to Jonathan Scope, and Mesa out to talk to his pitcher. 5 trips to the mound already for Mesa, and obviously it's a tie game. We're in the bottom of the 6th already. Both teams running out of opportunities.
Mesa, what a terrific talent he was. He still looks like he could play. He's 53. One of the 100 greatest athletes in the history of Cuba. And on the other side, what a contrast in Hensley Mullins, who Really has taken on the persona of the guy that he's been next to, Bruce Bochy of the Giants. 1-2. It's a battle of wills right now.
Yeah, Simmons is timing it up pretty good now. Watch how he stays back, waits for this breaking ball, and takes a heck of a rip. It's almost like you were hitting in batting practice, telling yourself just to stay back, try to hit the ball up the middle to stay on the pitch, and your hands will allow you to pull it if you do square it up.
Great speed at second in Odeber. Simmons has driven in 1 run tonight. Popped it up behind the plate. Sanchez comes back and he makes the catch. And the Netherlands strands a runner in scoring position. We're headed to the 7th in Tokyo. 4-4. In Tokyo, a trip to San Francisco is on the line for Cuba and the Netherlands. Here in the 2nd round, all tied at 4, top 7. Raul Gonzalez, his first at bat of the ball game. He came in at short, and he takes high from Chiron Martis. Martis, in his 4th inning in relief, took over for Orlando Yintama. We've seen David Bergman up a couple of times. He's next on Bert Blyleven's list in starter by committee, because the Netherlands burned 3 starters in 2 games coming into this one.
One thing Martis has done is he's really economized on his pitches. That last pitch was just his 37th pitch. Martis has a rich history of pitching for the Netherlands in the WBC. He threw a no-hitter in 2006 against Panama.
Two. And remember the 2 runs that Cuba got in the 5th off of Martis. There were 2 balls that were narrowly out of the reach of Sams in center field. One that he hesitated, then dove for and couldn't hold. Another that just got over his glove. That was the 2-run double by Yulieski Gurriel. 2-2 coming to Raul Gonzalez. Curveball, ground ball, fair, and down the line. Odeber into the corner. Gonzalez to second with a double.
Both teams leaning heavily on their depth. We saw it in the 5th inning when Victor Mesa used 5 players. Here, Gonzalez, with his first at bat, keeps it fair just down the 3rd base line, bounces over the bag. Trevor Grieve, the 3rd base umpire, signals immediately a fair ball. Bogarts didn't believe it, but another leadoff double.
If the ball bounces over the base, doesn't matter where it comes down. If it's on the ground, it's a fair ball. And here's Alexei Bell. Squares to bunt and takes down low.
Don't be surprised by the fact that Bell shows bunt on the first pitch. Victor Mesa has had Abreu bunt in this tournament. He will bunt anytime, anywhere in his lineup, and even though Bell had a base hit in his previous at bat as a pinch hitter in the 5th, and Bell's got a lot of power. Right now they're asking him to advance the runner from 2nd to 3rd.
Bell's first at bat, and Martis is falling behind 2-0. This is not the area of the lineup you want to put people on, because the Thunder is around the corner.
Yeah, it sure is. This is a tough part of their batting order.
Gurriel's next, then Fernandez, then Cepeda, Abreu, Despain, Tomas. Two-0. Misses on the bunt attempt. Netherlands had their first baseman crashing, Kurt Smith. Their third baseman, Xander Bogaerts, holding. Here's a spot, Buck, where having 3 shortstops on your infield might not be the best of things.
Yeah, it's a real different situation. And when you really think about it, we saw Cuba in batting practice at the start of this round have all of their hitters out bunting. So it's not a surprise that Mesa has asked Bell to bunt. Players were aware that might be the situation.
Bogaerts, the 20-year-old Red Sox prospect, is a shortstop. He's at third. Scope at second. He's a shortstop as well. And Martis misses again. The count's 3-1.
Yeah, they're trying to give you an out, and you always encourage your pitcher, hey, put it in play. We're playing for the bunt. Kurt Smith is getting a great jump from first base. We got a chance to get the runner at third. So throw it over.
And he misses badly. So the question is, do you let him face Gurriel, who drilled one to center for a 2-run double his last time up?
I don't think so. I think it's time to make a pitching change, and you can see Blyleven, the pitching coach, pacing behind Hensley Mullins. And now with Gurriel, who has doubled twice tonight. Robert Einhorn, the bench coach, giving the defense the bunt situation. Blyleven checking on the status of his bullpen. Reporting to his manager.
Now, would Mesa have Gurriel bunting, who has doubled his last 2 times at the plate? He bunts, pops it up, and Martis makes the catch. Gurriel had doubled in the 4th, doubled in the 5th, and he pops up trying to bunt here.
That's the problem you run into when you ask your sluggers to bunt. Gurriel, 2 doubles in the game tonight and 2 RBIs, and you can see he never really squared around, popped it up, and Martis makes a big play. First out of the inning, comes on a pop bunt.
It's safe to say there's not a lot of station-to-station baseball in the Cuban Pro League.
Yeah, this is a totally different atmosphere, and you're asking players to do something they're not used to doing. And even though they're aware that's going to be the possibility, Mesa's been up front with his team since November. We're going to do things you're not used to doing, but we have to do that and play that type of baseball in this tournament.
Fernandez has been one of Cuba's best hitters in this tournament. 10 hits, 19 at-bats, and he's driven in 6, including a run in the 4th with a single. Fastball, ground ball, might be 2. Simmons the turn. They got him! Hensley Mullins stuck with Martis, and it pays off. Victor Mesa bunts with Gurriel, and it blows up. And it's 4-4 in Tokyo. 4-4 ball game, bottom 7. A trip to San Francisco is on the line, and an enormous double play from a hot hitter.
The infield defense for the Netherlands is terrific. Great athletes, and Martis does a terrific job of pitching around a leadoff double and a walk. That's how they started the inning.
Line drive, base hit, left field. Jonathan Scope with a single. 2-3-4 in the Netherlands order. But remember, that's 2-3-4 without Bernardina and without Ballantine, but Scope is aboard.
Henry Stacia came into the ball game after Ballantine left because of a leg injury. He was hit by a pitch in the 3rd that contributed to 2 runs for the Netherlands. And then he flied out to center field. He was the first batter Gonzalez faced when he came into the game.
Bernardina out with a wrist injury, didn't start. Ballantine left. Urendel de Castro with a leg injury. He left the ball game. And so Stacia finds himself not only in right field, but in the 3 spot in the lineup, and in a likely bunting situation with Scope at first. And he takes a strike. Andrew Jones, Curt Smith, and then Xander Bogaerts follow Stacia. There's Bernardino on the right, Ballantine in the middle there. That pitch misses. Remember, Gonzalez made a nice play on a comebacker. Counts 1-1.
Lots of things going on. Obviously, it's a 4-4 game. A lot of strategy. We are late in the game. This is the 7th inning. Bottom of the 7th, and the Netherlands has matched Cuba run for run and hit for hit.
And they've had to do it without the heart of their order tonight. Cuba has had the heart of their order, and the big bats have produced. Guevara, the right-hander, Iglesias in there as well, and this time diving back is Scope.
Scope is not one of the base stealers on this team. But they certainly could play hit and run.
Netherlands would love to get Andrew Jones and Curt Smith up. He's running, swing and a miss, throw down to second, and he's out. And just like that, an opportunity disappears.
Stacia is a guy you expect to be able to put the ball in play, but the pitch is in the dirt. He does his best, and Sanchez, who came into the game defensively in the 5th, makes a good throw. The hit and run was on, and Scope is tagged out easily, so that leadoff single is raced.
So great defense by both teams in the 7th. The double play to finish the top of the 7th by the Netherlands. And Ariel Sanchez strike to second. 1-2 to Stacia. A little tapper towards short. Gonzalez, quick release in the dirt. Out at first. Abreu keeps his foot on the bag. And there are 2 outs. Look at that, the entire Cuban team came over to first base.
Boy, it's a terrific play. Raul Gonzalez throws on the run, and the stretch by Abreu at first. Ball's in the dirt. He maintains contact with the bag. Alfonso Marquez, the first base umpire, has a real good look at that foot as it stays on the bag, and Abreu helps out Gonzalez with a good scoop out of the dirt.
Victor Mesa out for a meeting with his lefty. Rarely does the Cuban pitching coach come out of the dugout. I guess it's a lot like being Billy Martin's pitching coach back in the day. When Art Fowler would come out, he would get to the mound and tell the pitcher, Billy's really mad, throw strikes, and then go back to the dugout. And so Mesa delivers the message himself. And a pitch misses upside to Andrew Jones. Jones singled in the 5th, sac fly in the 3rd, and bounced out in the 1st. So you've lost Bernardino, and you've lost Vladimir Ballantine. But Jones remains. And he was trying to back foot that one.
Yeah, he's thinking about one thing right now, is getting something he can knock out of the ballpark. Boy, that was a great shot of him locking in on Gonzalez on the mound. Trying to gather his thoughts, pick up the release point. He's facing Gonzalez for a second time. He singled the center his last time up.
1-1 out into right center, and it's going to fall for a base hit. He got it off the end of the bat. Tomas gathers it in. Second hit for Jones, a 2-out single.
Andrew Jones gets the breaking ball, and you can see kind of jammed himself. He drops that back shoulder. He's thinking about hitting a big fly, and he loops one into center for a base hit. So Andrew Jones has had a sac fly and 2 singles tonight.
Here's Curt Smith now. Jones at first, and Smith swings and misses.
If you wonder how hard these players are playing, this is back in the 5th inning. Andrew Jones slid right on top of the bag in an effort to break up a double play, and he did. He allowed Curt Smith to reach first on the fielder's choice.
Smith has driven in a run with a single, and he goes after a pitch in the dirt, and Norberto Gonzalez has been absolutely what Victor Mesa has needed. He's given him innings, and he has kept the Netherlands at 4 runs.
He came in with 2 outs in the 4th inning, and he has allowed just 3 singles. He's thrown 47 pitches, and he's not thrown very hard, but he's awfully effective.
0-2 in the dirt.
The Cubans have only 1 extra player on their bench. They used 5 men in the 5th inning. 3 pinch hitters and 2 defensive replacements.
Smith rolls one deep in the hole at short. Gonzalez to second, and Jones gets there and beats the throw. Boy, Gonzalez was playing so deep at short, he gave himself no chance to get the runner at second.
It's a base hit, but if he's any shallower, I don't think he gets to the ball.
It's a good point. Smith gets a hit.
The only reason he's able to get it is he's so deep, but he has nowhere to go for the out. No chance at all at first, and Jones hustling, as we showed in his previous trip around the bases. He had the aggressive slide. This time he beats that throw to keep the inning alive.
Xander Bogaerts, super prospect for the Boston Red Sox. Their #1 prospect, has not had a great tournament. He's 1 for 9. And he takes up, but he has power. Hit 20 home runs between single A and double A last year. Drove in 81 and clubbed 37 doubles. And he's up in an enormous spot. He's just 20. Andrew Jones at second. Curt Smith at first.
Boy, put that breaking ball in a good spot. Really tied up Bogart, just 77 miles an hour. And there must be something about his delivery that is keeping these hitters from squaring up that breaking ball. It's not necessarily a late breaker. It doesn't have a big, wide sweeping break, but they're certainly not hitting it very hard.
This is not a big park, and it's a fast carpet, so a base hit doesn't guarantee Andrew Jones will score. And Bogaerts has gone after 2 pitches in off the plate, and instead of 3-0, it's 1-2.
Yeah, and Gonzalez again locating that breaking ball very effectively. It's a strike to ball breaking ball that looks hittable and then disappears down and in.
Smith the trail runner, Jones the veteran out at second. 2 outs, bottom 7, 1-2. Got him. Gonzalez carves up the youngster. And Cuba and the Netherlands will go to the 8th. With a trip to San Francisco on the line, it's all tied at 4. Proud to have one of the world's most recognizable blimps with coverage of tonight's game, aerial views of the World Baseball Classic, delivered from the eye in the sky, MetLife's Snoopy 1. That is the Tokyo Dome, a live shot over Tokyo. Inside, a nail biter. On the line, a trip to San Francisco. Winner goes, loser heads home. 4-4 Cuba, Netherlands. In the 8th, Marta stays in, and the right-hander has fallen behind a dangerous hitter, Frederick Cepeda.
A couple of right-handers for the Netherlands, Luke Van Meel and Leon Boyd.
2-0 pitch is away. Martis has given his skipper 3 1/3 innings of relief. You see Cepeda has a base hit. But this is the second time through for these hitters. Cepeda, Abreu, Despain, and then you've got Tomas if anyone should reach. 3-0 is a strike.
Well, you really have to applaud Cepeda in this situation. We mentioned what a good hitter he is, but he's not trying to expand the zone. He's got protection on deck in Abreu, and he wants something good to hit. He walked his last time up against Martis.
There's Abreu. He homered in the 4th. Despain waits as well. 3-2 to Cepeda. Missed. Now what will Hensley Mullins do?
Cepeda with his second walk of the night. He's had a single, 2 walks, and hit into a double play. Still no movement toward the mound.
Well, Boyd and Van Meel, that's the 8th and the 9th inning guy. It's the 8th inning here, but it's tied 4-4. And Abreu blasted one, not off of Martis, but off of Orlando Yintema, the starter for the Netherlands. Abreu checks his swing.
Abreu hit into 2 double plays in the first game between these 2 ball clubs.
Two strikeouts and a home run tonight. 1-0. Fastball hammered to left. Over for it is Odeberg. And Cuba is in business. First and second. Nobody out. And now, is he going to ask Alfredo Despain, another slugger, to try to bunt? It didn't quite work out in the 7th when he asked Gurriel, who had doubled his 2 previous at-bats. Gurriel popped up, and then a double play ended the inning.
You saw Mesa come out onto the field and shout instructions to Despain. He's a powerful hitter. First and second. Throughout this tournament, we have seen Mesa ask his sluggers to bunt in these situations.
And they have not been real successful at doing it. And Despain is not bunting. He takes outside.
Yeah. I think he saw last time, and another animated reaction from the manager. Makes you wonder if Despain missed the sign.
Or is flat out ignoring it. One-0. Not bunting, pops it foul, out of play.
What Mesa is telling Despain right now is to think about a line drive to the opposite field. Stay on the ball, don't pull it. When we first met with Victor Mesa prior to the first game in Fukuoka, he said Despain's swing sometimes gets too long.
First and second, nobody out, tied in the 8th. Despain, breaking ball, he goes the opposite way to right. Stacia is an infielder out there. He makes the catch. Tagging at second is Cepeda, and he resides 90 feet away with a crucial run. Abreu still at first.
Instead of asking Despain to bunt, Mesa encouraged him to go the opposite way, and Despain drives it to the warning track in right field. And now he's giving more instruction to Tomas. Hensley Mullins has made his way out to the mound. That's going to be it for Martis.
Martis heads out. Mullins needs a ground ball. And it's Boyd who comes on in a huge spot in Tokyo. In Tokyo, it was 2-0 Netherlands, and back came Cuba. Jose Abreu with a home run to tie it at 2. Then the running game and a miscue by Cuba. A 4-2 lead for the Netherlands. And then Ulieski Gurriel just out of the reach of Kalian Sams. That plated 2. And from the 5th inning on, Both teams have had opportunities. Neither has been able to score a run. Martis puts in 3 2/3. But he comes out with runners at the corners, and the Cubans have the go-ahead run 90 feet away. Leon Boyd, a side armor, looking for a ground ball. And he elevates a fastball. Yasmani Tomas has plenty of power. He's behind 0-1.
You saw Leon Boyd is from Vancouver, British Columbia. He received his Dutch passport in December of 2005. His mother was born and raised in the Netherlands.
He's got another strike.
Boyd is 29 years old, and this is a breaking ball. Just kind of spins up there, and Tomas swings right through it. Boy, this infield, they are begging for a ground ball.
The Dutch have turned 2 double plays in this ball game. Altogether, 7 double plays in the 2 games against Cuba. 6 of them on the infield. Tomas ready at the corners. Boyd to the plate. Little looper into right field, gonna score a run. Scoring is Cepeda. Abreu on his way to third, and he's in there. And a big hit by Yasmani Tomas. Not a bad pitch.
Leon Boyd's a sinker ball pitcher. He's trying to get the ground ball, but you can see the great approach by Yasmani Tomas. He fights it off and flares it into right field. Coming in from third base is Cepeda. Started off with a walk. It's very difficult. That leadoff walk will always come back to haunt you.
A run in the 8th. At the corner still. Boyd with a breaking ball that's outside. And now the Netherlands tries to keep it at 1 run. Infield back for 2. Sanchez, the catcher, off his foot. And it's 1-1.
Victor Mesa has done a terrific job of managing this game. You think back to the 5th inning when he used 3 consecutive pinch hitters. He scratched out a pair of runs to tie it.
Runner goes. Breaking ball, fly ball, foul, and into the seats.
In this inning, after a leadoff walk and a single, he had his big slugger, Alfredo de Spain, hit a ball to right, then moved Cepeda from second to third. Sanchez, the catcher, in his first at bat had a big home run swing, but he pulls it well foul. Boyd's got to get the ball on the ground.
1-2. Missed outside. 2-2. Tomas does not have a lot of speed at first. The Cubans have a run and their first lead. A blister to left, a leaping catch by Odeberg, tagging and scoring is Abreu. Sanchez delivers run number 2. 6-4 Cuba.
Sanchez gets that ball down inner half, running back to him, and he hits a bullet to left. Odeberg has to jump to make the catch. Abreu goes back and tags. Big insurance run for Cuba.
And Victor Mesa, who has been as animated as any manager we have ever seen, has his team on top now 6-4. And for the Netherlands again, to come back here, they don't have Vladimir Valentin. He's out with a groin pull. They don't have Roger Bernardina, a wrist injury. They've lost Yorendel de Caster, who started at third and had a base hit, to a leg injury. And now they're down by 2.
And they're looking at the prospects of the bottom of the 8th with 7, 8, 9s, the scheduled hitters.
Raul Gonzalez, who doubled back in the 7th. Pop up, there's a lot of room over there. Smith finds the wall and it's into the seats. You think back to 2009 when the Netherlands was taking on the Dominican Republic. The Netherlands had to piece it together pitching-wise and fell behind in extra innings to the Dominicans, but somehow rallied for 2 to beat them.
They used quality pitching late in the game and some clutch hits. You mentioned the clutch hitting in that extra inning win over the Dominican Republic to knock them out.
Boyd's breaking ball misses in. In Miami, Italy and the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico and USA. Italy, a great story. USA barely getting in. Dominican, a lot of power in that lineup. High pop on the infield. Bogarts, the third baseman, calls and catches, but the Cubans have caught and passed the Netherlands. Victor Mesa and Cuba 6 outs away from San Francisco. It is 6-4 Cuba. Cuba, a 6-4 lead, bottom of the 8th in Tokyo. Winner goes to San Francisco, loser goes home, and the winner will also play tomorrow against Japan for seeding for the final round, AT&T Park in San Francisco. At hand now, though, the Netherlands needs runs. They're without 2 enormous bats in their lineup, Roger Bernardina and Vladimir Valentin. And they're at the bottom of the order here. Kalian Sams, Dashenko Ricardo, Randolph Odeber. But 3 runs have come out of the bottom third of the order. Norberto Gonzalez stays in there. He's been splendid.
Boy, he sure has. And many people question the move of Victor Mesa to start Vladimir Garcia. And Garcia gave up 4 runs, 3 earned runs. And then he has really shown a lot of confidence in Gonzalez. There were several times when he could have made a change. Remember, the 8 hitters in the lineup are all right-handed, and then there's 1 switch hitter in their lineup. They lost their left-handed bat, so you've got to commend Gonzalez for a terrific job of shutting down the Netherlands.
And Sams has made an adjustment. That slider that he starts over the plate that breaks on the back foot or in on the hands, he's taken for 3 straight balls. This one is high, and the Netherlands has the leadoff man aboard. Tying run comes to the plate. Guevara and Iglesias are ready. They've been throwing for a long time.
Since about the 3rd inning. Not necessarily consistently, but they have been up since early on in this game.
Sams has great speed, but as we've seen, Gonzalez very good at keeping runners close at first. And the Netherlands down a couple. Ricardo walked in his last at bat. Gonzalez opens with a strike.
And he throws almost all sliders. He threw a 3-0 slider to walk Sams to start the inning, and we have seen that pattern consistently from Gonzalez.
58 pitches for this reliever. And he gets a couple of quick strikes. Victor Mesa trying to get his team to San Francisco. No Korea. Japan is headed that way. The Netherlands helped knock Korea out of this tournament. Looked like a straight change.
Everything is soft from Gonzalez. He didn't have a good fastball, doesn't have the velocity to blow it by you, so he uses that slider almost exclusively. He pitches with his slider like most pitchers pitch with their fastball.
Sams is back. Hensley Mullins has his team one win from San Francisco, where he is the hitting coach for the world champion Giants. And there's that slider that comes in under the hands. Ricardo swings and misses. There's one out in the 8th.
Third strikeout for Gonzalez, and his strikeouts have come on that same pitch. A short little breaking ball, not the big sweeper, but the slider that he starts on the inside corner, and the right-handed hitters swing over the top of it.
Victor Mesa out to the mound. Look at that. He's not the easiest to play for, but if you can play for him.
Well, he's all fired up. He's sprinted back into the dugout, and we have heard it time and time again from the players on this team. They love playing for Victor Mesa. He's had a lot of success as a manager, and he sent several Cuban players to the big leagues, players that he's managed in the Series Nacional.
Odober has doubled in 3 trips. Especially the young hitters right now, Buck, are having a hard time laying off the breaking ball in on their hands.
Yeah, it has to have tight spin, and you really can't pick up the rotation of that breaking ball. And it appears as though it's going to stay out over the plate. You offer at it, and it breaks down and in.
Odober takes outside. Andrelton Simmons is on deck, and then Jonathan Scope.
See, that sign Mesa is given to the outfielders is no doubles. Back up. I don't want you to give up a ball in the gap that allow the batter runner to get to scoring position at second. That's a universal sign as well.
Nothing over your head. Odober in the starting lineup in Bernardina's absence. Bernardina is available to pinch run and play defense. They were going to see if the wrist would loosen up as the game went along. Down the right field line, and it's fouling out of play. And Odober had the right idea. He just pushed it foul.
He's had good at-bats tonight. He's been on base all 3 times. He's got a couple of stolen bases. He's scored 2 runs, and that's the approach you have to have against Gonzalez. Don't try to pull him. The fact that he doesn't throw very hard will allow you to pull the ball naturally. You don't have to think about pulling. You don't have to get the head out against Gonzalez. Just the opposite.
Cuba with 2 runs in the top of the inning and a 6-4 lead in Tokyo. And back foot breaking ball does it again for Gonzalez.
Down and in, that's the formula for strikeouts, that breaking ball. It's not the same velocity, but it's certainly the same result as I remember Sparky Lyle. Closer for the Yankees used to throw that same type of slider. Lyles was a bit harder, but he threw it in the same spot and had similar results.
Andrelton Simmons was tied up by Gonzalez when he faced him in the 6th. He popped to the catcher. Looked like a batting practice fastball. And it surprised everybody, including Simmons. Counts 1-0. Simmons hit 3 home runs for the Braves last year in 49 games. Come on. Jonathan Scope on deck. Sam's at first. Slow breaking ball. And it's back to the screen.
Simmons is really trying to stay back and drive that ball to center. As you mentioned, he jammed himself last time up and popped up.
And this is a really tough guy to face for an ultra aggressive hitter, and that's exactly what Simmons is.
Especially in this situation where everybody is pressing a bit. It's a 2-run game. We're at the bottom of the 8th. Not many more opportunities left.
After a leadoff walk, Norberto Gonzalez has struck out a pair. He's 1-1 to Simmons, and it's 2-1. It's the first time we've seen Victor Mesa sit down tonight. Two-one. Breaking ball, deep left field. It's tied. Andrelton Simmons. Back comes the Netherlands. 6-6. He finally hung one.
And Simmons was waiting back on it. Not a bad spot, but you can see Simmons lets him turn it loose before he starts his swing, and he's got enough pop to drive it into the seats. That got him moving around in the dugout.
Jonathan Schoop. A 2-out, 2-run homer to tie it. Gonzalez had been so good until then. 0-1. Breaking ball low. Schoop singled against Gonzalez in the 7th. He's walked and struck out as well.
I don't care where you're playing, what type of baseball you're playing. You issue leadoff walks, they're going to come back and bite you. That's what happened in the top of the 8th. Same happened here in the bottom of the 8th. Those leadoff walks encourage the offense.
Buck, you've got a reliever out there who is at 72 pitches. Now, he can go 80. That's one thing to consider. The other thing to consider is 72 is a lot of pitches for anyone out of the pen. 2-1. Sharp ground ball, foul.
Well, the situation is such that he was throwing so well and had handcuffed the lineup so consistently that Victor Mesa was confident. Remember, he just had a visit to the mound, encouraging him once again.
He's 2-2 to Schoop. Struck him out. Schoop goes down. But Andrelton Simmons, the 22-year-old shortstop of the Atlanta Braves, comes up big. We're tied at 6. He's only 22. But that's the biggest home run in Andrelton Simmons' life. A 2-run shot to tie the game with the Cubans. 6-6. 7'1", Luc Van Meel, the closer for the Dutch, is in. And Alexei Bell at the plate. And Van Meel, who has that great downward plane, pours in a strike. It's 0-1.
Van Meel closed out game 1 of this round against Cuba. Retired the side in order. And he creates a wicked angle. 7-1 downhill. A new look for the Cubans.
Well, you think about tall pitchers in the big leagues. John Roush, Chris Young. 0-2 pitch. Did he go? No. Says Alfonso Marquez. Of course, Randy Johnson, maybe the best of the tall pitchers. Van Meel has a nice, for a big man, nice, easy, compact delivery.
Yeah, a good delivery, and he gets that release point out in front. And the challenge for hitters when you have such a distinct downward plane is you pick up the top half of the ball.
1-2, he went, struck him out. Chris Guccione didn't ask. And Van Meel has the first out of the 9th inning.
Tight slider. You can see it's buried in the dirt, but Alexi Bell goes too far. First out of the inning is a huge out. It's the tough part of the order.
Winner of this ball game goes to San Francisco. The loser of this ball game goes home bitterly disappointed. Here is Gurriel. Yulieski has doubled twice. He's been a tough out. Smacks it into left field. Odober picks it up. Big turn by Gurriel, and he'll hold with a 1-out single. And Cuba has a runner aboard, and now you get into the bats. Fernandez, Cepeda, Abreu.
That was a slider. You can see it was belt high, and it's totally different than the pitch that Van Meel struck Bell out with. Gurriel's third hit of the night, pair of doubles. He's driven into and scored a run.
Fernandez 1 for 4. Drove home his 6th run of the tournament in the 4th. Van Meel, outside corner. $7,613 in the 43,000 capacity Tokyo Dome. Place has been filled and jumping when Japan has played tonight. On a cold night in Tokyo, the temperature in Tokyo dropped about 20 degrees today. It was in the low 40s just around game time. Outfield very, very deep. Van Meel. Runner goes. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Throw to second. And he's in there with a stolen base. It takes a while to unfold a 7'1" frame. And Yulieski Gurriel puts himself in scoring position.
Pitch is on the outside part of the plate, and the throw is short of the mark. Simmons tries to keep it in front of the bag. It skips past his glove into center. Gurriel is safe, and by the time he gets up, the center fielder Sams had backed up the play to keep him at second.
1-2. You could hear Fernandez as he started to take that pitch with a bit of a gasp at the plate.
That's a good slider ball, just kind of goes straight down. Van Meel's thrown some good sliders in this inning.
Outfield is shortened up now. And then Fernandez slaps it back. 2-2.
Van Meel's got his hands full. Fernandez, a terrific hitter. He'll take what you give him. He'll go with that outside pitch and shoot it to left.
There's an even better hitter on deck in Freddie Cepeda. 2-2. Slaps it to left. Odober in. It falls. A late start at second by Gurriel. And he arrives at third. Fernandez at first. And now it's Cepeda coming to the plate. And Victor Mesa is unhappy with the read of Gurriel off the bat. He thought he should have scored.
Well, this ball hangs up a long time. I don't think there was any way you could just say, okay, it's going to drop, but Gurriel can only advance to third on the base hit. That's significant because that keeps the double play in order. See, Bogaerts just keeps the ball in front. He looks over his shoulder to first to make sure that Fernandez doesn't take off for second.
You could tell Mesa wanted him running a lot sooner than that. Now Cepeda, and Van Meel buries one in the dirt. You've got the threat of Fernandez running at first, with Gurriel at third, and Cepeda, who has walked twice, has singled, and he's bounced into a double play.
Yeah, generally when you have your DH to play in the top of the ninth inning in a tie game, you're not going to take a chance of getting a runner thrown out. I say generally. Victor Mesa is truly unpredictable. Cepeda's had good at-bats all night long. Singled in his first at-bat and then walked twice in his last two at-bats. He is patient, he's selective. He'll get a good pitch to hit.
Van Meel ready. 1-1. Jammed him, and Van Meel gets a strike to run the count at 1-2. 6-6. Netherlands and Cuba for a trip to San Francisco. Hensley Meulens would love to take the orange and black to San Francisco, where he has been by Bruce Bochy's side for a while now as the hitting coach of the world champion Giants. 1-2 to Cepeda. High chopper, foul.
Quite a battle going on. Cepeda grounded into a double play in the fourth. This pitch is down in a good spot, and all he can do is hook it foul.
The Netherlands has their closer, Luc Van Meel, in, but the Cubans have runners at first and at third. 1-2 to Cepeda. Van Meel again gets in on him. Still 1-2. Got him! Whoa! What a big out. Cepeda strikes out, but one more big bat to get for Van Meel. Here comes Abreu.
What a big strikeout. Running fastball off the plate, and Cepeda strikes out. A terrific contact hitter, difficult to strike out, and Van Meel blows the fastball right by him. Not out of the woods yet.
Abreu has homered and singled and struck out twice and can hit it a mile. Van Meel misses low. 1-0.
This is the best fastball the Cubans have seen all night. That last pitch was 95.
The Cuban hitters, despite their manager screaming at them after every pitch, have put up some big numbers in this tournament. 1-0. Foul back.
Boy, he had a good rip at that slider. Abreu with good plate coverage. That's a very hittable slider, and Van Meel got away with one.
Cubans at the corners. Gurriel at third, Fernandez at first. Top of the ninth, 6-6. 1-1 pitch. 1-2.
Boy, that's a perfect spot for that slider. Down and away. It looks like a strike and then disappears away from the big right-hander.
One-two pitch. Stays alive.
Got to get it down. He gave Abreu a chance to put it in play. Abreu hit a bullet into the seats in center field, into the hitters eye in center. I mean, a line drive home run to deep center field back in the 4th inning.
Van Meel looks in. Abreu waits. Another 1-2 to center and hit well. Sams is there, makes the catch. To the bottom of the 9th, and the Dutch have a chance to win it. 6-6, bottom 9. Winner goes to San Francisco. 8th inning, it was 4-4. Yasmani Tomas dumped one into right, and Cuba would take a 6-4 lead. Bottom of the 8th, 2 outs, 2-1 pitch, and Andrelton Simmons of the Atlanta Braves ties the game. And here we are in the bottom of the 9th, still 6-6. Hanley Station takes outside. The Dutch, without their number 3 hitter. Roger Bernardina hit by a pitch last night. He's out. Without their cleanup hitter, Vladimir Valentin pulled a groin in the 2nd inning. And Stacia, who didn't start the game, has found himself right in the middle of it. He's in the 3 spot. Andrew Jones will follow, and then Curt Smith. And Norberto Gonzalez is still out there, though he's at 76 pitches. He throws a strike.
Stacia needs to get on base, and his job is to battle to get on base. He was taking a strike all the way.
Well, you think back to 09, and you think about the Netherlands and the Dominican. 2-1. Fly ball left field, not well hit. Despain is in, and he makes the catch. So at 78 pitches, by rule, Gonzalez can start and finish this at bat to Andrew Jones if Victor Mesa chooses, and Victor Mesa is going to come get him. So Stacia's out number 1. Mesa asks for the ball. Terrific effort by Norberto Gonzalez.
Gonzalez did a great job. Unfortunately, the 2-run home run to Andrelton Simmons, and he'll turn the ball over to the bullpen.
And we'll be back. Tokyo Dome, game on the line. Yonder Guevara is in. 6-6, bottom 9. 1 out, nobody on. Andrew Jones at the plate. Big breaking ball, big swing and a miss. 0-1.
Good night for Andrew Jones at the plate.
Sacrifice fly and a pair of singles. Jones has hit 434 big league home runs. And a fastball misses up.
Looks like they're going to want Jones to hit a breaking ball. You can see Ariel Sanchez, the catcher, give that fastball sign and wave his glove way outside as if he said, don't throw it for a strike.
Jones waits, the 1-1. Oh, it caught the corner. And Guevara's out in front, 1-2.
Sanchez asked for the sidearm breaking ball, and they get the call. Catches the outside corner at the knees.
One and 2. In the dirt. He dropped down and missed badly.
Well, and Sanchez gave the same sidearm indication, but went with the fastball. Very animated behind the plate, and going to make sure that his pitcher understands exactly what he wants right here. And
he wants a new ball.
He wants a new ball. Doesn't like the feel of that last one.
6-6, bottom 9. Jones waits. 2-2. Nope. Sanchez tried to buy it. Guevara came off the mound like he had struck him out. But Chris Guccione didn't call that one, and it was out. The question is, does he double up on that pitch?
Yeah, he'll throw it again. Remember, it looked as though they wanted to just waste the fastball and get Jones to go after a breaking pitch.
3-2 coming. Breaking ball, ground ball to third, bobbled and dropped, and Jones is aboard. Gurriel went to a knee, and it was fatal.
Well, it was like a changeup. Balls hit off the end of the bat, and Gurriel got fooled by the speed. He tried to block the ball, kicks off his glove, and he has no chance to make a throw. It wasn't that sharply hit. Oftentimes, infielders will get fooled by a big swing and the ball cued off the end of the bat.
Andruw Jones does not have the speed he once had, and this is a tough ballpark to score a runner from first with a ball in the gaps. It's just 360 up the alleys. Smith with a couple hits, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Curt Smith, another nice night, 2 for 4. 7 for 19 in the series with 6 RBIs.
Curt Smith homered off the Cuban ace starter, Ishmael Jimenez.
Oh, 1. Line drive, base hit, left field. Jones to second.
Boy, that's a pretty good pitch. Sinking fastball about knee high on the inside part of the plate, and Curt Smith with his 3rd hit of the night. A lot of scouts in attendance, and Curt Smith looking for at least a minor league opportunity. Might have hit his way into one of those situations.
Victor Mesa out to the mound, and he's asking for the baseball. He's seen enough already from Guevara. He'll take the ball. Guevara will exit. Jones at second, Smith's at first. 20-year-old Xander Bogaerts is due up. In Tokyo, 6-6, bottom of the 9th, and a right-hander, Raciel Iglesias, into the lineup. A lineup that doesn't have Roger Bernardina, doesn't have Vladimir Valentin. They are out with injuries. And in the 5th inning, starting third baseman Yorendel DeCaster running out this ground ball. He went down and was carried off on a stretcher. So into the ball game, the 20-year-old Xander Bogaerts. The winning run's at second. There's 1 out. Iglesias needs a ground ball. Pulled foul.
Xander Bogaerts hit 20 home runs last year in the Boston minor leagues between A ball and AA. He hit .326 at AA in 97 at bats after being promoted from Salem in the Carolina League.
0-1 pitch. Fastball, and he took a rip. He's behind in the count, 0-2. Back in the 7th, this was against the lefty, Norberto Gonzalez, with runners at first and second.
Tough slider down and in, and he struck out.
Infield is very shallow. It's a fast carpet, and a base hit is no guarantee Andruw Jones scores.
Bogaerts asked for time after Iglesias looked back at Andruw Jones at second. Jones had bounced off, taking an extra couple of steps at second base, and Bogaerts asked for time.
The winner goes to San Francisco. 0-2 to Bogarts. Checked his swing. 1-2. The Cubans are not holding Curt Smith.
Curt Smith has a lot of room. You can see how deep Abreu is. Becomes significant if there's a ground ball on the infield.
1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, little looper into right field, a base hit. Late start by Jones, and he's held at third. The bases are loaded with 1 out. Jose Fernandez, the Cuban second baseman, went out. Andrew Jones had to make sure. And here comes Kalian Sams.
And here comes Victor Mesa. The game is on the line. The bases are loaded. Iglesias gives up a single.
And Mesa's making another pitching change. 6-6. Bags are loaded in the bottom of the ninth. Cuba goes to the bullpen once again in a 6-6 game with a trip to San Francisco on the line. Bottom of the ninth, the Netherlands, underdogs for sure, especially without their number 3 hitter, Roger Bernardina, without their cleanup hitter, Vladimir Valentin. The Dutch have the bases loaded, Victor Mesa on the top step of the dugout, and Kalian Sams, who has struck out twice and walked twice. That's Andrew Jones at third. The Cuban infield is in. So it's Sams against Castillo. 90 feet away is a ticket to San Francisco. The veteran, Andrew Jones. First pitch. Fastball popped up, out of play.
Sams has had a very interesting night. He struck out twice, but he also drew 2 leadoff walks and came around to score.
As well, he barely missed 2 balls in center field that led to 2 runs for Cuba. Oh, 1 pitch. In the dirt, and Sanchez snatches it.
What a terrific play by Sanchez. He didn't enter the game until the 5th inning. And that ball is past him. Watch how he goes after it with both hands and gloves it and then smothers it and checks on Andrew Jones at third.
One and one. Popped first base, out of reach. Abreu gave chase.
Castillo recorded the final out in game 1 when these 2 teams met. He came into the ball game with 2 outs in the 9th inning, top of the 9th, and got Jonathan Scope. That's the only time he's worked in this round.
1-2 to Sams. Bases loaded. Bottom 9, tied at 6. Castillo. Fastball, fly ball, deep center field. That's gonna do it. Jones will tag. Here he comes. The Netherlands will walk off all the way to San Francisco. Absolutely incredible. The Dutch have done it. a Cinderella in 2009. Headed to the final round in 2013. Without their number 3 and number 4 hitters, they take down the powerhouse Cubans and punch their ticket to the city by the bay. What a finish.
Absolutely incredible. A tremendous amount of character shown by the Netherlands after they lose 3 key players. Andrew Jones reached on the air by the third baseman, and they would take advantage of that opportunity. A disappointing end for the Cubans. This is 5 straight wins for Netherlands over Cuba, going back to the World Cup in 2011.
They weren't Cinderellas, but they were huge underdogs, especially after Bernardina wasn't in the starting lineup. And then Ballantine went down. And then DeCaster was carried off the field in a stretcher. But they hung in there. Bert Blyleven patched it together out of the bullpen. And Sams drives it deep enough for Jones to walk home.
With 2 strikes, and he knows it. He hit it deep enough to center. He's had an up and down night, walking twice, scoring twice, drives in the winning run. Andrew Jones very emotional as he comes across the plate over near the Cuban dugout, screaming in the dugout. And the Netherlands 5 straight wins against Cuba.
It was Andrew Jones, when he committed to play, that picked up the phone and called every potential Dutch player and said, "I'm in, are you?" Scope followed, Bogarts followed, Simmons followed. And now they're headed to San Francisco.
How about Kurt Smith getting a base hit? His 3rd base hit of the night after the air allowed Jones to reach. And then the 20-year-old Bogarts, a 2-strike base hit to right to load the bases and set the table for Sams.
In 09, it was a trip to the 2nd round. Here tonight in Tokyo, it's a trip to the promised land. What a giant leap for the Netherlands. And Hensley Meulens is going home. He's going to San Francisco. The hitting coach for the Giants will be wearing the black and orange at AT&T Park. Only this time, it'll be for the Dutch.
And how about Luc van Meel striking out Frederick Cepeda, runners at 1st and 3rd. Meulens going to his closer in a tie game in the top of the 9th. Cuba would get 2 hits, have the go-ahead run at 3rd with 1 out. And Van Meel got Cepeda and Abreu to keep it a scoreless game.
Kaylee and Sams, the game-winning sacrifice fly, the party just beginning for the Netherlands here in Tokyo.
This is exactly what the World Baseball Classic is all about. The quality of baseball has improved dramatically around the world. We have seen Italy advance to the 2nd round. The Netherlands is going to the semifinals. Everybody improving because of the World Baseball Classic.
The Netherlands knocked out the favored Koreans. They take down the world's #1 ranked team, the Cubans, and they do it here in Tokyo in a dramatic 9th inning rally. Started by the veteran, the head recruiter, Andrew Jones.
17-year big leaguer and all-star. And how about the starting pitcher, Orlando Inteme? And then Sharon Martins came out of their bullpen. We thought they didn't have the pitching. Bert Blyleven somehow patched it together again.
That's a final, and what a finish. The Netherlands beats Cuba and advances to San Francisco. The World Baseball Classic continues on Tuesday. Final game from Tokyo for seeding the Netherlands and Japan. Round 2 from Miami begins Tuesday. Italy and the Dominican, Puerto Rico, and Team USA. For Buck Martinez, our entire World Baseball Classic crew, I'm Rich Waltz. This has been a special presentation of the World Baseball Classic. You ain't much if you ain't Dutch.